FBI, you might want to stay out of this, all right, sir? Excuse me, sir. Ma'am, please, back off. All right, I need 8 double tall.
I love that one so much, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I can't resist sometimes. I try to mix some other ones in there, but I just love that one. And I love this because if you watch the Aries Tarrington show this past Wednesday, if you're a Star Wars fan and were alive this past Wednesday, you'd know what happened with the Obi-Wan series. Oh my goodness. And I was talking to some people, panel members here and everybody in the chat, like, wow, trying to find something to talk about because we know all this Hot Toys heat, release-wise, announcement-wise, is coming. But it's not here. But are you all kidding me? With this Obi-Wan series, I'm like quite beside myself, as C-3PO would say. Come on. I feel like this is part 2 of the Obi-Wan coffee spilling contest. Welcome back. How are you this weekend?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a wonderful evening when you can join your friends and talk about Star Wars.
Oh, I know, right? It's true. It's so much better than work. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, man. I get to talk some Star Wars at work, but some people are like, you know, I know some people at work that have never watched Star Wars. They've heard of it, but they've never watched it. But anyway, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Aries. Thanks so much for having me. I don't know if it's like this in PA where you are, but I know brother cousins and I got hit with some snow today.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't a ton here, but like it just came out of nowhere. Like it was supposed to be really windy and cold, and then now suddenly it's snowing. So you know, it's pretty wild out here in Maryland right now, considering it was like 60 a couple days ago or 65. So brother cousin knows all about this, and I'm sure you do in you know where you live, Aries, but. Yeah, man, it's wild out here right now. That's all I can say. So all those Cali guys out there, I'm jealous of you a little bit. Not the taxes you pay, but I'm jealous of your weather.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah,
I the gas prices.
You know. At $8 a gallon, I heard something.
Is it $8 a gallon in Cali?
California, yeah.
It's like $4.50 here, brother cousin, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. $4.50. Yeah, it's expensive here, but not like that. Jesus.
No more figures for us.
Tell me about it. No, and over here in Western PA, I mean, it was 70 degrees last week on Sunday, like 65 last Saturday. It was like 65 the other day. Mm-hmm. And yes, I woke up this morning and it was like 4 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Exactly. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, go figure. Brother cousins, and I know we were speaking earlier in the week. Obi-Wan series, brother cousins, how you feeling?
I'm doing good. Just like Will was saying, man, it is crazy out here. And it's like 28 degrees outside. It's snow outside. It's beautiful. It's it's not ice. It looks good, but I think we're supposed to be hitting 70 next week. Tuesday, I think.
Yeah,
70.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, definitely. But it's been a good week. Can't wait to talk about this Star Wars, and thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. It is absolutely a pleasure to have you in here. And is it possible that we're going to get one more panel member? And I say 16ScaleMan will be joining us soon. So that will be awesome as well. But yeah, man, I mean, what a week. And look, I just want to get right into it. I mean, I kind of feel I'm going to start with you, brother cousins. I'm going to go diagonal, if I can point it right.
Diagonal.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
There we go.
When I saw that this week, And Arnold and I talked about this on the Aries Tarrington show on Wednesday. I kind of felt like I was watching a cinematic release.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was really, I started to think about it after the show I had with Artem. Is it because it's movie star Ewan McGregor? Is it because Hayden Christensen? It's a huge blockbuster. Oh, wow. I feel like I'm watching, the prequels again. But then I'm like, no, I mean, the quality, the music they used was theatrical music. Duel of the Fates. They also used that version during the Anakin and the Obi-Wan fight at the end on Mustafar. I mean, dude, everything about that just seemed big budget. That's not over in one sitting. But I don't know. How'd you feel when you saw that, baby?
I felt the same way. At first it was a surprise. Shout out to Mario. Mario's a great guy. Oh my God, El Professoro. I think he sent the link to everybody in our group, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then when I saw it, I was just blown away. I mean, like you said, it has a real big cinematic feel to it. And a lot of some Mandalorian has that as well, but for some reason this just had that like extra. I don't know. You can tell they spent a lot of those Disney dollars on it. You can just, and I think you're right. I think it does have something to do. That's part of it, right? Ewan McGregor. We haven't seen him, in Star Wars since Revenge of the Sith. So having a big movie star of his caliber, it just ups the playing field to me. It really did. And but you can also look at like the effects and just look at the scope of it. It's much bigger than I think any other show we've seen on Disney Plus. I mean, it looks great. I mean, I can't wait. I'm over the moon, but completely over the moon for with what I saw.
Yeah, and when you talk about like over what has already been presented on Disney Plus for Star Wars, man, I mean, the Book of Boba Fett had some, obviously, with that CGI, the train scene, the ending show, had some big budget. I mean, it was a lot of money to make it look like that. Mandalorian, forget about it, because they spend a lot of money on that, the Crate Dragon, all that kind of stuff. But this looks like blockbuster Ville. And before we get to Will, welcome to everybody here. It is the Market Show Live at its 6:13 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. What's going on? And let's say hi to some of the people in here. Let's go ahead and do that before we get to Will. We have the Hylas Gray that's in here. Hello to you as well. Lewis is in here. What is going on? Elfito is in the house. TK592 wants to know, in the name of the Hot Toys Wizard, show yourself, Dark Jedi. I'm right here, baby. But listen, you're a TK. How's TK FOMO? I haven't seen him lately. I'm hoping for an appearance soon. Chewie's Bandolier is in the house. Good to see you as well. Punisher in here. UK Sith. Come on. And what table are you at? He's at table 66. I'm trying to listen on those dodgy dudes at table 66. So look, well, maybe we will play table 66 a little bit later. But right now we got to fill up Grogu at table 5. If enough people sit at table 66, I will play the evil, menacing character that rules table 66. Is it possible he's going to have an appearance as in a hologram, by mention, by actual physical appearance, by Ian McDermott? I don't know. I have some thoughts on that. I can't wait to get into it with the panel. Sam Short in the house. What is going on? Of course, OG fan, Aries, Wizard, possible. Come on. Jonathan Danter in the house today. What's going on, my friend? What table are you at? And we also have Paul Morales. Look, I've got pretty full pots today. We're going to be spilling it. What? On what? On Obi-Wan series. Come on. All right. As we go through, welcome everyone in here. I will keep getting to you. Will.
Yeah.
Will. What was your feelings on this? I agree with Brother Cousins. It had a big feel to it. It seemed theatrical to me. What was your first impressions?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. I really, really like this trailer, but I think we all expected to. You know, I think we were all have really high hopes for this show, not only because Deborah Chow's running it, but because of everyone involved. Like how much hype. And honestly, we've always wanted to see this time period, I think, of Obi-Wan in the desert, what he's doing, you know, what sort of obstacles he's faced and you know, guarding Luke or looking out for him. Those are the kind of, that's like a very open time period, at least from my understanding. I haven't read a lot of the comics, things like that. Maybe they've explored it. I don't know. But from what I've seen, yeah, this is a really exciting time. And also, you know, I think it just feels like it's going to be better than Book of Boba. Book of Boba Fett was still decent enough, right? You know, I feel like it just feels grander, right? And it's only 6 episodes. I think they're going to roll through this. We're going to get Darth Vader. They already showed us him. Like, there's a lot of good stuff coming in this show. And I mean, if they disappoint us, that's going to be an incredible letdown because this show has a lot of expectation riding behind it. And if it's bad, then I don't think it will be. But, you know, if it is, then that's something that, you know, Disney's going to have to look at because Mandalorian might just be lightning in a bottle. But let's hope not, right? Let's hope that this is actually something great. I think it will be. I think you got to see a lot of cool stuff with Inquisitors. And honestly, with these trailers, they don't show much. They never really do. Disney just happens to go that way with their Star Wars shows for whatever reason. They kind of like show the minimal amount to get you excited, but they're not like Marvel trailers where they show you a lot. They show you like just a couple lines of dialogue, a little bit here and there, but nothing crazy, right? I kind of like that with these shows because I don't really know what to expect. Like I have no idea other than Obi-Wan's in the desert looking out for Luke, what's going to happen in the show. I literally have no idea. And that's what I think is kind of exciting about it. So I do kind of like the marketing in that sense because it literally just gives you a little taste to get you excited, but it doesn't give you a whole lot of the bigger picture. So all we know is Vader, Inquisitors are looking for Obi-Wan. He's in the desert. How is he going to shake him loose? Because he stays a lot longer in the desert, right? So he has to like throw them off his trail at some point. So they obviously catch on to him or find him something, and then he gets loose again. So I don't know. It's going to be exciting. How are they going to fit Vader in? Like that's the biggest part, right? Because Vader's probably the biggest character in the show, and it's not even his show. So I mean, you know, putting Vader into any show, he's the biggest character. For sure. You know, so yeah, we get a rematch with Obi-Wan and Vader, which they didn't show us, and I was happy about. All we heard was Vader breathing in the trailer.
That's enough.
That's enough, right? Exactly. Just wait and show us the rest later. But I haven't watched Clone Wars, Aries, so I don't really know much about the Grand. I think it was the Grand Inquisitor. Is that who it is? Yeah. So. But I really miss Second Sister from Fallen Order. I wish she was in the show, but you know, that would have been cool. But nonetheless, I don't want to ramble too long. But I would say the trailer's great. It showed just enough to give you a little taste, and the show's going to be great. I think we're going to go in with optimism. That's what
optimism. Yeah, absolutely for sure. No, great thoughts, Will, and a lot to expand off of. And before I get to Artem on some of your thoughts, welcome everybody in here. With 70 in here, please hit that like button already. You are watching the Market Show live here on a Saturday evening. And in case you don't know who I am the Dark Jedi, Aries Tarrington, and I'll be serving up all the Obi-Wan series and Disney Plus talk, along with Artem and Willfoxification, Brother Cousins, and 16ScaleMan Lael, who will be in here in a little bit. And again, don't forget, smash that like while you're in here. I'm putting this up from Chewy. And Chewy's Bandolier says, "Hi, Aries. My 6-scale Cantina mug arrived yesterday, and I'm ready to fill it up and spill some coffee, baby. I'm at the kids' table, table 5. Look, I got it right here, too, my friend. Thank you so much for your support and for that. Cheers to you and to everyone. Good to have you in here. Come on. Artem, they both, Brother Cousins and Will, bring up some great points. And we were talking about this backstage, so let's get into this. I feel like there's so much to jump into, but let's jump into this. What they showed us in the trailer, none of us really know. It's possible, sure, that's the biggest stuff we're going to see. It's always possible, right? That's the greatest part of the show. It's also possible that it's the complete opposite of that. And we really didn't see anything. They've already teased that we're going to have this great battle. So I think it's kind of on that spectrum of they didn't show us a whole lot. But it does kind of give you the impression that there is a lot of Tatooine, minus the Inquisitors and the Grand Inquisitors when they're getting their orders from the Imperial. fleet and whatnot and bases that, go ahead and go out and seek out Jedi. I just got a sneaking suspicion we're going to find ourselves on a lot of worlds, probably because of some hunting. But anyway, what are your thoughts on the trailer itself? How much do you think it showed? And how much do you think it didn't show?
Yeah, I loved the trailer. I thought, just like Brother Cousins and Will, that it was very cinematic and beautifully done. You could watch that trailer 100 times and not get tired of seeing these scenes. And they were very specific scenes that they chose to show us. And to be honest with you, I thought about it after you and I spoke about the trailer for almost 2 hours, Aries, on Wednesday, that if this really is actually all the characters who are in the show, I'd be satisfied with it, because they did such a beautiful job with what they presented us with so far. And, I don't think I've seen a trailer up to this point where I've felt this good about a trailer. I could honestly see them running a good portion of the series based on the characters that they've showed us. And then anything else that they give us, it's like icing on the cake. Everything was so beautifully done. And, we do get a sense of what the show is going to be about. We came in, or are coming in, with somewhat of a great expectation for this Obi series, because we have, like Will has said, been fantasizing about what his life was like during this time. We've all been speculating about this, and about the only time that I think we got maybe a little hint of what it must have been like was in the Clone Wars, when Maul kind of goes onto Tatooine and meets his fate finally with Obi-Wan. That was maybe the only time we've ever really seen a time where he's there and that's happened. And the Obi-Wan that we saw in the Clone Wars, he's much more mature, a very different person from what we know from previous films and depictions. So, this is going to be the first time in live action, I guess, we're going to be seeing Obi in his mature state, and he's much wiser. He has all this experience behind him. And we've never seen him having to tackle other issues he hasn't faced before. For example, coming up against Inquisitors, would be an example. I don't think we've ever seen that before. So, that's going to be one of the first things that I certainly would expect we should see some sort of confrontation or battle or something against an Inquisitor who is clearly determined. See, I think, what's very interesting about the Inquisitors is that they absolutely are there to kind of just destroy their opponent, and, kind of letting somebody off the hook or saying, I'm just going to let them survive, may not always be the best choice when you're fighting for your life. So, it could really go in so many directions as to how an ending in a confrontation with an Inquisitor might turn out. But I absolutely love what they've done. And, we're very lucky to even get this series now, because we've been waiting so long for it. And the music made it so dramatic and enjoyable. And, you can't help but think to yourself, wow, this is going to be really good. And I still have that feeling. And I watched it about 5 more times today and still have that feeling. So I'm counting the days down, Aries. I'm counting the days down.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And welcome, everybody. You are watching The Market Show live. And look who has joined us, as promised. Lael, 16ScaleMan. Lael, brother, what's going on?
What's going on, man? I'm happy to be here, bro. So excited, man. Just got off of Dan and Dre's show over there, 6Scale Reviews. So they had, a great discussion about Batman.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I got to dip out, jump on this show here. They talk about how Will looks like the Grand Inquisitor. But yeah, like,
man, spitting image.
Spitting image of the Grand Inquisitor. Like, I'm just gonna say, Will, every time something new drops, it's gonna be like Will with hair, Will with this, Will with that. Yeah,
especially any bald character. Yeah, bro. It's just me. It just doesn't matter if
it's just all Will. It's just me. Yeah, but thanks, bro. It's an exciting week, bro. It's been an exciting week to be a Star Wars fan. I'm talking about a fanboy, a fangirl, whatever you want to call it, man. It's exciting. It's definitely exciting, man.
Well, look, I'm going to stay with you because you came in right at the right time. I was getting everybody's thoughts. Of course, I had the Aries Tarrington show where Artem and I had like a whole 2 hours where we wanted to go longer, where we talked about this. But just your first impressions first, and then we're going back around the panel to talk more about it. And one of the things couple of things that were said were interesting. First thing that we were bringing up it seemed very theatrical. And I was
Yeah.
bringing up a point like, hey, is it because Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor's in there? Hayden Christensen is there? Is it the music? It just has a whole
Mm-hmm.
big budget feel.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that Arnold just brought up about this, if they don't show us anybody else and just kind of the characters that are in there, it's kind of like she's satisfied, is what you said, right, Arnold? And
Yes.
I'm kind of with you with that, and I kind of says a lot about this trailer. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
what are your feelings, bro, dude?
Man, so it was crazy because I got to start really understanding that this is how things work. We got the last official printed issue of Entertainment Weekly. So, you know what I mean? Like that was the last, this is the last issue that we're going to actually get. So seeing that, we should have known that right around the corner, there was going to be a trailer. I just didn't know, and I no hints, and I guess I just slipped on the radar, but I didn't know that they were going to show one. So, and a minute that they said that they released the Obi-Wan teaser, I jumped right on and watched it. And, you know, watching it from the beginning, you know, seeing like a hint of, you know, Obi-Wan, the environment, you know, then seeing him looking at young Luke, hearing him in the background saying the war is done. You know what I mean? You know, you can hear the remorse in his voice. And we know, and the thing is, it's like the one thing that I wanted to see from it, and that I welcome. It's like I didn't welcome with Luke because we didn't get a chance to basically see Luke's descend. You know, we didn't see him descend from grace. With Obi-Wan, we have. So it makes more sense for him to be more doubtful about, you know, the Jedi Order, doubtful about his choices, and to feel as though he made a mistake. But I'm telling you, the turning point for me when I got excited and emotional all at one time is when they played Duel of the Fates.
Come on.
Bro, that has to be the greatest cinematic music in history for a scene.
Yeah.
Hearing that the first time I heard it, bro, like hearing it on, like basically when we heard it, you know, watching, you know, Phantom Menace, I was already excited because that Darth Maul, like seriously, Darth Maul from, you know, when there's Vader and then there's Darth Maul for me. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. That's how it's gonna always be. But to hear that music, bro, and then from them, because Aries, we've been talking about this. Are we gonna see Inquisitors? For them to say yes, and then just give it to us right off the bat. And then, you know, another thing is, it's like, I love the simple fact that we're not just getting the Inquisitors, but we're getting a diverse cast of individuals in this film. To see that, you know, to see, we know that what is his name? Not the Grand Inquisitor, because we know that's Will. But we're talking.
I'm still dumb, that's it.
We still don't. Yeah, but what's his name? Kang. What is his name? What's his name?
Oh, it's escaped me. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, like he's basically, I think he's what, the seventh brother, I believe. Is he the, you know? So I think that's who he is. But just to see all of them there, and I was like, wow, like this right here is what I'm talking about. And I'm so glad that they didn't show us Vader. We didn't see Vader. We see very little Obi-Wan. We saw more of Uncle Owen. So I love to basically see that. But man, like overall impressions of when I saw it, it sucked me in. I was a bit emotional. I was like, yeah, he's the fifth brother. That's what it is. The fifth brother.
The fifth brother. Okay.
Yes. So to basically see that, and to feel the energy, bro, like to feel that energy again after what we got with Boba Fett and how it was so divisive, you know, picking off of the hills that we got from Mandalorian, where we were just so hype about everything that we got, ending the second season off with Luke. We were excited about that. Going into Boba Fett, being a bit disappointed about the outcome, coming into this saying, okay, please give me some type of hope. And I don't doubt Deborah Chow, because she's crazy. She's going to do this, and I know she's going to nail it. My faith is in her. But yeah, I'm all in on it, bro. Like I can't. It's just like the word. It just escapes me. I'm just so excited,
dude. I mean, I can't say it better. I mean, it's like so epic, and everything you said, I'm right there with you, and I understand those feelings. And actually, Arlom, I brought this up to you that I actually was getting like goosebumps. Like he was talking about Duel of the Fates. And I kind of agree. I mean, I'm kind of having a hard time thinking of a more. I mean, I love the Imperial March, like with Vader, dun dun dun, but it has a little bit of a different feel of a march. Duel of the Fates is like, come on, it's about to get on. It's about to, we're about to dance. So I don't know, and I was getting goosebumps with that. And when I was seeing that ship go out, I mean, and they did, brother cousins, they did just give us Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Okay, they showed, and I think that they're calling her the third sister. I thought it was going to be the seventh sister, not
the seventh sister. Yeah, but she's the third.
Yeah.
So which once we come back around, I have like my theory on that. I think I talked to Will about it too. But once we come back around, I just want to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go right to you with that. But he brings up a good point. They just said here we're going to have Inquisitors. We're going to have the Grand Inquisitor. We're going to have the third sister. Man, I was just like, I'm hoping we get some Purge Troopers. But anyway, we can save that a little bit. I think we are. But dude, I kind of feel like you're seeing the comments here. Even if we didn't get any other unveils, you're getting Darth Vader. They didn't show Darth Vader.
Yeah,
you
but
got the breath. You got the breath.
You got the breathing.
Yeah.
That shows you how strong this is. And I think Will brings up a good point too, if you touch on that as well. If they don't nail this and bring this home, there'd be some talk. Because it's okay with the controversy of Boba Fett. Okay, blah, blah. They, like Lael was saying, they did save it with the Mandalorian at the end because we're all like crazy about Mando and all that. So it's kind of like, okay, forgotten, go on. We know where Mando's going to go. But yeah, I feel like they gotta hit it with this because it's crazy. But your thoughts?
Yeah. So wait, are you asking me or Lael?
Oh, you can go, Will. I was asking brother cousins, but go.
Oh, wow. Brother cousins. Okay. We were all confused.
Yeah, I was like, should I go? What?
I didn't know if I was supposed to go. I was like, I heard my name and I was like, should I go? That's funny. But I'll just say real quick, yeah, because what we've had, this will be our third Star Wars Disney Plus show, right? Because we've had Mando and then we've had Book of Boba and then this. So if you're 2 out of 3, that's a pretty good batting average. Even 1 out of 3 is technically, but for entertainment, it's not really. Like if you're producing good quality or really high quality in 2 of 3, I think people will be okay. We'll just say, okay, maybe Book of Boba was a little bit more of it's not terrible, but it's a little bit more of an isolated case, right? But if this turns out bad, then you have, like you said, Aries, a bigger problem on your hands. I don't think that's going to be the case, though. I think Deborah Chow, like Lael said, is absolutely going to bring this one home. And I think they're going to show us what we want to see. I mean, I think, with Book of Boba, I think there was a lack of character development. But with this one, it seems like it's going to be minimal characters involved. There's like a couple Inquisitors, Vader, Obi-Wan. That seems like mostly it. So I kind of like that because we can kind of explore Ewan McGregor because this is like our said well, this is a very interesting time for him because, the Jedi Order just got completely destroyed. He's out in the desert after a number of years. And like this, I want to see his psyche, where his psyche's at. Like, I want to see kind of like how he's living, like what he believes in now besides Luke. And like really just what motivates him at this point, besides just protecting Luke. I'm sure there's other things too. And just get to know the character again and see how he's changed and evolved because we have to somehow bridge the gap between Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor. So this is that time period where we need to do that. So I think that's really exciting. I'm interested to see where they take Obi-Wan's character. And of course, the Vader rematch is the number one thing I think everyone wants to see. I think they want to see Vader again. They want to see Obi-Wan fight Vader again. So and I think that we obviously, they've already confirmed we're getting that. So I don't know how they're going to pull that off. Maybe that's the finale. Maybe that's the, second episode before the finale, penultimate episode. I don't know. But I'm just going to say I'm excited. And I think Deborah Chow is going to bring it home. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt until she proves otherwise, which I don't think she will. So.
No,
you guys are right. Thoughts. Duel of the Fates was incredible. yeah, that was awesome. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
they knew we couldn't resist Lael.
They did.
They knew if they played that song, we would go crazy. And
but could you? It's like you're like what? If you know what? Somebody created a meme real quick. It's like, you know, like the prairie dogs, like somebody, like you have them screaming, scourging around. They had the trailer, and it was just them walking around. And then when Duel of the Face come on, they all stood up like
Yeah, they all
this.
stood up. Yeah.
It's like, yo, that was great.
It's accurate, bro. I mean, like they knew exactly what they
they
were doing.
did,
And it also
did,
made
bro.
you maybe like, oh, maybe Darth Maul shows up in this, but I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna happen. But.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. We will get into that. But you bring up a good point. First, thank you, Riley
Good.
Reviews at the $2 drop. Still out of it from my wizard interruption. Listen, my friend, here, have some special blend coffee. We'll fill you up there at table 5 with Grogu. You'll feel all better. Have one of Grogu's eggs that he stole from the frog lady, and you'll be all right. Brother Cousins.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Not showing Darth Vader, but hearing his breath at the end. Where would this take place? Is it going to take place? I hear a lot of conversation of, oh, it's a lot going to do with Tatooine. He's obviously going to protect Luke on Tatooine.
Yeah.
He's got to protect Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru on Tatooine. I don't know. I have mixed thoughts. I really do think he is going to, just like he got that message from R2, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope, whether it's from Bail Organa, who's already confirmed in the show, or from this one or that one. I think he's going to go. I don't think the battle between him and Vader is going to be on Tatooine. I think it's going to be somewhere else. But go ahead, go.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be on Tatooine. I think it's definitely going to be somewhere else. Absolutely. One thing I'm liking, what I loved about the trailer was the fact that they were in different areas. We saw Tatooine. Obviously, he has to be on Tatooine because I think this show it's a couple things on this show that benchmarks that this show has to hit, like protect Luke, Tatooine, as Will was saying, like that distance where he was hiding out there. Like what was going on between that time? That's what we want to know. I also think with this, you know, like the Deborah Child taking the reins and really directing this baby, I really see them doing some stuff like actually having some flashbacks, like maybe some flashback to the Clone Wars or something like that. Because I mean, they got it. If they're bringing Hayden Christensen in this, I know he's wearing the suit, but I really think I think we're gonna get some flashbacks or something like that in the Clone Wars, just to show that connective tissue.
I agree.
Where they were, where they came from, and where they are now. And I think that just makes for interesting storytelling. If that doesn't happen, I don't think that's going to mess up the show or anything like that. But I do think we're going to get stuff like that. We're really going to get a real sense of story. And that's what Book of Boba Fett was kind of lacking. Book of Boba Fett was almost like a hodgepodge. And I think that's why people were kind of thrown off about it. It was more like, here's Boba Fett. Isn't he cool? But he's in the back of the tank. You know, it was that type of thing. But
he never fires his blaster.
And he never fires.
He was like a long episode of House
I know,
or something.
right?
You know?
Right.
Until we got to the Mando. Yeah, no, I'm right with you.
Right. But I think with this, we're definitely gonna get some real good storytelling. And wherever that fight will take place, that's interesting. Who knows? I mean, who knows where it will be? It'd be interesting if it took place on Tatooine, and it's like, wow.
It could because that's, you know, Anakin's home planet. But Lane Kraber with the $2 drop to all the greats here. A blue milk special to you. Well, I've got blue spotchka right here, baby. Thank you so much for the $2 drop, Lane, and welcome everybody who is watching the Market Show live here on a Saturday evening. 84 watching. Smash that like button, baby. Come on.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm gonna pull up the image of. I think I have one of the images of the Inquisitor, or one of the Inquisitors, the third sister, and let's see if I get the right image of her, and we'll pull that up onto the screen as we talk here. Do you expect her? I mean, and it's fine with me if it is. I think I don't see. Okay, 6 episodes. I heard that each episode is approximately an hour. And I didn't read that myself, but I was hearing it from other people that have read it. That it's supposed to be an hour each. I think that this was originally, back in the day, supposed to be a theatrical release. So I'm
Yeah.
almost wondering, if they extended it and it'll be like almost 3 movies, 3 OT movies in one, or like 2 long 3-hour movies in one. But I don't think that this all takes place on time. Not that I would mind it, because it might be great. I mean, I don't know, but I think we're going to be visiting some other places.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, my dream would be to see Alderaan, because we've never seen Alderaan, right?
No, well, we've seen it blown up.
No.
It's a very different view.
You always see pieces of it.
We've seen it destroyed.
And what's interesting about it is that
That's
we
hilarious.
already know we're going to see Bail Organa, and I'm curious as to how he, like what his life has been like since the Empire took over. And Coruscant, I think, would be another planet that I would not be surprised in seeing, but it would be great to see him in Alderaan. I mean, that would be quite a surprise to see that planet, since we've never seen it, but we've spoken a lot about it. And it used to be, it was very special for a number of reasons, but this would be the perfect opportunity to even just give us a glimpse of it, to understand how important it was in a number of different ways, and how perhaps maybe a lot of Jedi fled there, from Coruscant. Why not go to Alderaan? And so, it's something to think about. But how is Bail even surviving now? And it wouldn't be a surprise that an Inquisitor would go to Tatooine and have sort of machinations or deal with people from the underworld to try to locate other Jedi. It certainly wouldn't be a shock there. But I think that it will be interesting to see how she is. And of course, I have no choice but to compare her to the other Inquisitors that I've seen in the Clone Wars and in Jedi Fallen Order. I have no choice but to do that, because that's really the first time that I've really seen. Now, Jedi Fallen Order is a video game, but it felt like live action. Some of the scenes of the second sister in Jedi Fallen Order were quite, it had to be somebody in a suit, right? A gentleman in some sort of suit. And, the fighting scenes, from the acting, the voice acting, it truly felt like you were watching a TV show or some special show on Star Wars. And I consider it part of the lore for me. So I expect a second sister, or any sister who's an Inquisitor, to perhaps behave somewhat similarly to what we've seen in the past. But also, we know that some of these Inquisitors were Jedi at some point, unfortunately. And, like their careers have gotten hijacked. At least that's what I'm going to call it. Their career got hijacked, and now they're an Inquisitor. It's like, well, what do you do? You either get killed or you go to the dark side. And, some of them were very cruelly tortured and forced into this lifestyle. This was not something that they woke up one day and said, I want to be an Inquisitor, for some of these poor unfortunate souls. So, you just never know when you're looking at these Inquisitors. I imagine all of them have some serious backstories, which we learned in Fallen Order, which made it even better. It kind of enriched the importance of those characters, and, how, this one person didn't get away. So they were subjected to Darth Vader or the Grand Inquisitor telling them what they had to do, and that they better get the job done. So, there's a lot of intimidation for them, just as much as intimidation that Darth Vader gets from Palps, which I see the relationship between Darth Vader and Palps as just pure intimidation all the time. He's like a micromanager, and you never have a second to yourself. And as I said before, Darth Vader gets pushed into these very precarious situations almost all the time. At least in the comics, it seems like he's always in these sort of precarious situations, running for his life, trying to figure things out. And I don't see his life any sort of like security or anything like that. I think that having Palps as your boss is like the hardest and worst boss in the world. So
that's a good point.
So I hope we see some of that intimidation and the pressure that's on these Force users. The Inquisitors are Force user, obviously, and what pressure they're under to deliver results. That Inquisitor that we saw, the Grand Inquisitor, did not look like a very understanding individual. He was very, he kind of like was speaking in a very monotone way, but he's incredibly dangerous and will kill an Inquisitor, I'm sure, in a moment, if they're not doing what he's asking them to do. So, I think it's going to be very interesting to see the dynamics of some of these Inquisitors as they're off in other worlds like Tatooine or maybe Alderaan or maybe even Coruscant now. And this is kind of affording us that opportunity to see that.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned some planets that I think that we will be in some locations. I actually think we will see some of Coruscant. I think Alderaan, yes, especially because Jimmy Smits. Obviously, I don't think all of these people will just be on Tatooine, and they could flash. Obi-Wan could stay on Tatooine, and they can just be flashing from one location to the next. One's reporting here, how did you do or whatnot. But I want to go to Lael, and Lael, I actually want to bring. I know you want to come back and talk about the third sister here and what we're talking about, but I want to put this comment up because I think this is excellent. M.B. Dyson says Obi-Wan seeing Anakin in the suit for the first time could be epic. And I haven't thought of that until this comment, but he may not be expecting him to look as menacing as he looks. So I don't know if we get into the third sister here, what your thought is on this comment.
Well, here's the thing, like, that's what I'm wondering, because at this time it would appear that there's just chatter of Vader. We don't know. I mean, especially where Obi-Wan is right now. Has he even seen him yet? Again, seeing him for the first time, hearing just chatter about this menace, this Vader character, this Vader individual. I mean, the thing is, it's like, we have to also wonder if he can actually even feel him through the Force, if he can feel certain things, because there was a connection there. You know what I mean? Someone had talked about, I think it was on a chat earlier. I think it was on my stream, whatever. They were talking about, I think it might even been on Will's or somebody's stream. I don't know whose it was, but they were talking about, the possibility of, no, it was actually on Uncivilized Scoundrels the other night. They were talking about the possibility of us seeing Qui-Gon, and could Qui-Gon, be the voice, of reason, or that voice, in front of Anakin trying to sway him or change him. What people have to also remember is through the Force, and I forget what book it was, and I have the book, is through the Force. Now, number one, those visions and, being and having that connection to the Force, that you become a Force ghost, it's practice, but there's certain reasons why you don't really see it too much with the Sith at all, and why you don't even see that presence, with the Sith in front of the, or the Jedi in front of the Sith. It's through the Force you can feel certain things and the connections that they have. Through the Force, though, also a dark side user can find where this person is, like literally. And if that connection that, Qui-Gon has with Obi-Wan, that's like a beacon of him being able to know exactly where Obi-Wan is.
Wow,
so that won't really happen. That will not happen. So, that connection has to stay strictly with Obi-Wan for right now. So point, that's right? None of that. Don't think that we're going to see that. That only communication is going to be with Obi-Wan, not with, because he didn't have that connection with him on that level. Now with Obi-Wan and Vader, that's something totally different. And I know that, number one, it's not going to just frighten him, but it's going to hurt him even more, knowing the dark path that that Anakin has gone down. You know what I mean? So to see that for the first time, that we already know that, even we just, discussed the simple fact that, people were under the impression that the first time and the last time that they met was, again, what we seen on the Death Star. You know what I mean? That wasn't cemented. Even what he says, the last time, when we met, the last time I was but a pupil, now I am the master. It doesn't mean that he was a pupil in the, as far as a Jedi. He could have been a pupil of the Sith, trying to basically become a Sith Lord, because again, this is his first time around. He's still discovering himself. He's still discovering how to walk in that damn suit, you know what I mean? Because he's contained, how to breathe. At the same time, he is still healing. You know what I mean? He's healing the entire time. Like, that suit is keeping him alive, like literally keeping him alive. So there's a lot that goes into it. And on top of that, we're going to see a more reckless Vader. Like, literally, I think we will. He's going to be angry, furious. He might actually hold a level of power, but I think that anger and fury, especially when he sees Obi-Wan for the first time, knowing that he's blaming himself already, for the death of Padme based off of what, was planted, that seed that was planted with the Emperor, he's going to be angry as all hell. So that first meeting it's gonna be like that, you know, that, and we was talking about this before, that reimagining that we actually seen between Obi-Wan and Vader. I think it's gonna be something like that, where you're gonna see a more young version of Vader just going all in, but he's still gonna lose. We already know that he's gonna, or he may not lose. Maybe it's a draw at that point. They just decide not to fight further. You know what I mean?
Or
so you
someone
never know.
interrupts it,
or somebody interrupts it. Exactly. I just hope it's not the same thing that we got with Maul. Even though I love what we got between Obi-Wan and Maul in Clone Wars, I love that because I love how poetic it was. But I hope we don't get that. But you know, we're going to see it, but I was so glad we didn't see Vader in this trailer. I was happy that we did not see him, that all we got was him breathing. I was all on board for it.
Yeah, no. I'm going to play this clip, and then, Will, I'm going to go to you, because what Lael is saying there, how do we get... I'm going to play this clip. It's from Rogue One. And this is a very menacing, but very calm and calculated character.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
That is pretty intimidating.
I love Vader, man.
Yeah.
I just love Vader, bro.
Well, and I think, isn't that still 10 years, or is it 5 years before that, this show? But like
it's 10 years.
All right, 10 years.
Are you talking about with that clip?
That's Rogue One. So
that's Rogue One. Oh.
That's like right before A New Hope, isn't it?
That's right before New Hope. I think it's because Obi-Wan is 10 years after the Revenge of the Sith.
So he'll be like in the middle here. It'll be like 10 years.
Yeah, it'll be basically in the middle. Yeah, because
and 10 years before there.
Yeah, because we're still seeing, because remember, like this, we're seeing them young, so it has to be like a couple years after this that we get, you know, yeah. So we'll see.
So how does he? Will, this is spawning into an interesting conversation, because I don't know, and I talked about this. I want some character development. I know it's called Obi-Wan Series, but I want to see some of the struggle that Darth Vader's having. We've already been talking about during this show. Boy, he's not, the Emperor is probably not the greatest boss to have. He was already playing mind games with Vader. Is he still trying to do it now? But then that clip I showed of Vader is a complete 180 from after Revenge of the Sith, where he's walking like Frankenstein, basically. Yeah. And going no in pain. Interesting. Do you think he's going to be more like the Revenge of the Sith Vader? Or do you think he's going to be, I agree with Lael, I think he's going to be gunslinging in this one. Yeah. Maybe not quite as calm and cool yet as that Vader we just saw, because that's right in the middle. But what do you think?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's such a good question. If I had to speculate, I would say that more so I think he's going to be probably closer to the Rogue One Vader that we just saw. I think he's going to be pretty much like that, because that's the Vader I think most of us know and love. But like Lael saying, it would be kind of cool to see him be a little more reckless, to be a little less, tactical and a little less calculated. I think that would be cool. One of the things I think someone was dropping a comment, you guys could probably clarify this for me. At this point, Obi-Wan doesn't know Anakin's alive, right? Does he? Does he know Vader is a thing yet? Because like that's what I'm wondering.
Thought he left him for dead.
Yeah, because he thought he was dead, right? So I don't know if he would know, because if he doesn't, then if he meets him for the first time, he's like, oh shit, Anakin's alive. Like I thought he died, and that's because in A New Hope he knows that, obviously, right? He knows that Darth Vader exists and who he is.
He knows that Vader's there.
Yeah, so like he knows it's Anakin, but like right now I don't know that he would know that, right? I don't know that he would know Anakin's alive.
Now, the only thing I can wonder is, obviously it's the all new Galactic Empire. They're on Tatooine. Will they even, do they know of a political leader or a military leader? Like, even if he is really a military leader, I know like Thrawn, and this is where I get confused sometimes, guys. I'm going to go off. Thrawn, I know, is a military leader. Tarkin's more of a politician type leader, like a governor. What is Vader, though? Is Vader like in between, or is he's probably just, he may not know Vader's around? It's a good question.
Yeah, he's like a general. I don't know. Like he's that's how I would describe him, like a war general or something, like someone who's leading troops on the battlefield, so to speak. Like I guess that's how you describe. But he really is like the vice president of the Empire, so to speak, right? Like that's really what he is. But I would say that I think Aries, I think we're going to get probably a little more of a reckless Vader, but also still retain a little bit of that calculation that he has. So I think somewhere in the middle. Really, all we want to see is him be super angry, like Lael said, at seeing Obi-Wan again, because when he sees him again, my recollection would be that I don't think he would have seen him except for that last time where he last was Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader. So if you could imagine if I got my limbs cut off by somebody and I saw him again for the first time after 10 years, I'd be probably pretty aggressive towards them too, right? I mean, especially if you're a Sith Lord. So, I think there's going to be a lot of pent up emotion there. And I think you need to feel that. So I think you're right, Aries. I think they will spend time on Vader in the show, sort of developing him. Because why bring Hayden Christensen back at all? Yeah, like you could put anyone in the suit and get James Earl Jones or whoever to do the voice, and then you bring back Hayden for a reason. So I think they're going to spend. It's only 6 episodes, so not a ton of time. 6 hours or about right. So. Not a ton of time to get through all this, but I think they are going to make an investment in Vader to say, let's develop him a little bit and give Obi-Wan the spotlight, but give Vader like secondary lead, so to speak. Maybe they'll just hold him to the last 2 episodes. Who knows?
I think we're going to get at least one Vader. They do it every series. They do one.
They gave us a Mando episode in Book of Boba, or 2 of them.
One Vader flashback episode.
And there's supposed to be Clone Wars flashbacks, so that's probably Hayden Christensen in that. So
see what I want to see. If they do basically a Clone Wars flashback, bro, if I see Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka together, bro, that's going to be incredible, bro. That's going to be incredible to see that. And they don't even have to do a lot of de-aging to Rosaria. They can add. They don't have to do too much to her to give it that effect. They can pull some strings and do something differently. But man, I'm so happy. And somebody put in the chat like TK592, it is James Earl. They're tight-lipped right now about that. They haven't really fully confirmed it. Like they haven't confirmed whether or not he's doing it or not.
I thought they confirmed it.
When I read that, it didn't say. It just said they asked, but they didn't confirm. They didn't say anything.
Oh, he's doing it.
I would assume he would be, because if he wasn't, they probably would have told you.
He's 91 years old.
Yeah, he is getting old. Yeah.
He's 91. So, but I think he can actually still do it. And he can still pull off the voice. I think he can.
Because MB Dyson, you guys can speak to this, I'm sure. MB Dyson said he's probably heard of Vader, but he doesn't know it's Anakin. Obi-Wan, that is. That would be my guess going into the show. Like, he probably know Vader exists, but he has no idea it's Anakin.
He's not going to know until that confrontation.
Yeah, maybe Anakin takes the helmet off and he's burnt. And
because just seeing him, he's not going to know it's him. I mean, the voice and everything. Like, dude, why?
Imagine the hot toys you're going to get if Vader comes in the suit, takes off the helmet, so Obi-Wan knows it's him, and he's like, "Oh shit, that's Anakin. He's burnt." That's the hot toy stuff that's going to kick in, right? So
it's crazy.
Going to be exciting.
Absolutely, great thoughts there, Will. 100 in here. Please go ahead and smash that like button. You are watching the Market Show live here on a Saturday evening. Dark Jedi serving it all up, talking about my favorite thing in the world, and some coffee we're serving up over here. We will refill Grogu. Don't worry. Who's at table 66? I need more of you to tell me you're in there. I've gotten quite a few, but it takes a lot for me to play that clip. But we were just talking about this, Chewie, so I had it up. But again, I'll read it. Here's a question. Does Obi-Wan even know that Anakin is still alive? Or does he learn this is in the show when he sees Vader for the first time? So good thoughts. We're talking about that. Brother cousins. Will brings up a good point too. How motivated is Anakin? Because he knows Obi-Wan's probably not caught. He's out there. He knows. He knows Obi-Wan is not dead. And how motivated is he? He lost his limbs. He messed him up. It's because of him. He doesn't have Padme. It's because of him, this and that. Remember he said when he was falling down on the lava, whatever there on Mustafar, I hate you. Yeah. How much does he hate him right now? How motivated is he? Is it him? Is it him that is tracking down Obi-Wan? Is he trying to get the Grand Inquisitor to do that? Is he putting the heat on them, saying, if you don't find him, like, is he going to say something like, asteroids, other Jedi do not concern me, only Obi-Wan? How motivated is he right now to find him?
Oh, it's absolutely. I mean, I think that's what we're going to see. He's turning all that inner turmoil, all that hate towards Obi-Wan, and with with Palpatine fueling that, adding fuel to the fire in the background to do that. So I think, yeah, he's highly motivated to come out to go after him, and I think that's what I mean, that's the show right there. That is definitely what it's about. These two right here, and I think that's going to be epic just to see that happen, just to see that fight between them, all that tension. That's what it's about. That's what it's gonna lead up to. But the thing of it is, I think the I really think it's going to be bad. It's going to be a bad, nasty. It's going to, like they say in wrestling, it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be a terrible fight. It's going to be a terrible fight. It really is. When they see each other, but that's why I'm hoping that we do get like a little bit more background, some background story of Darth Vader, and because I think Lael, he alluded to this, that he's actually suffering in that suit. That suit is there to keep him alive. I want them to, hone in on that, to see that, let's see Vader be tortured. Let's get a little underneath that helmet. Yeah, he's a badass under that helmet, but let's see him underneath it, how he's suffering, and not just suffering from the burns and the pain, but also the mental and, him killing, him being responsible for Padme dying and all that. And yeah, going back to Revenge of the Sith, it was terrible, to see Obi-Wan there and he's standing over top there in the ship, and you just looking at Padme there, and he's just like, oh, you're betraying me. Oh, if you're not with me, you're against me. So yes, you're gonna get all that. I just us talking about it, just getting me excited.
Only Sith deal in absolutes.
Right.
Putting this up from Dutch Has a Plan with a $5 drop. Thank you so much, Dutch. Will Hot Toys reissue Tarkin and Vader 2-pack when they appear in the Obi-Wan series? So I'll go ahead and take this. And I say no, not because of the Obi-Wan series, because this pack will be 10 years, as we were just talking about, after that. I think there is a chance, we're going to talk about it, we'll get to him in a little bit later, that we see some type of cameo Easter egg of Tarkin, like we saw an Easter egg of him in Revenge of the Sith. I think that is entirely possible, that we may get some Death Star where they are in that construction phase, which I think would be really interesting to see that. You're going to get this 2-pack again. I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow on Morning Coffee with Aries. It's actually, I'm changing the name of it because I always start at like about 1:30 or 2, and I'll start at like 1:30ish tomorrow. So we're calling it Sunday Coffee with Aries. So that's what it's going to be. And I'll go over all the market stuff there, and we will talk about this. All I will say with this, and if anyone wants to jump in, you can. I've been bringing up the last couple of weeks that the Attack of the Clones Yoda was a complete straight reissue because there was demand for it. And all I will tell you is that pack now, that's going higher than it was before. But Tarkin, not necessarily Vader, but Tarkin and Vader 2-pack, that Vader in there, figures like Han Solo, they're way hotter than that Yoda. So just saying. We'll talk about it. But I want to play this for you, Artem, and because people are now sitting at table 66. I'm going to play this, but this brings me up to the next question for you.
Good, Anakin, good.
And you see the mind games. You see the mind games, Artem, right there. And we talked about this, and this panel here is talking about it. I don't just want to see the Emperor for fan service. Well, no, I do want to see him. But I want to see him because I want to see the mind games. So I'm hoping Ian McDiarmid is in there. And even if he just does it with his hood on or however they do it, I don't know. I feel like he's going to be in there because I want to see that bad boss. I want to see how that clay that's forming Darth Vader. And I know it's an Obi-Wan series, but I feel like it's an Obi-Wan and Darth Vader series. I feel like it's two peas in a pod. And I feel like we got to understand Vader. Is the Emperor fueling that anger even more? Is he saying, you know, well, how come you don't got Obi-Wan? Is he stronger than you, Lord Vader? Or you're, you know, I don't know. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, Palps is definitely intimidating Vader to a point where Vader he probably has the shakes for all we know. You know, it's like at a point where his nerves are gone. Like he's at his wit's end. And, you know, of course, you know, when we realize that he has completely succumbed to this, and, you know, there is absolutely no way that he has a relaxing moment. You know, this is not a lifestyle of enjoyment and pleasure. You know, it's almost like he's become this soldier for Palps, and Palps is constantly doubting him every step of the way, saying, you know, okay, go and do this. But, you know, Palps, I think, is incredibly disappointed in him, and he lets him know how disappointed he is in him all the time. And, you know, you know, to the people who are under Vader's command, I don't think they're aware of the abuse that Vader is getting from Palps, because they don't have that. I don't think they have conversations. Nobody speaks to Palps, I think, except Vader. And so, you know, if they could see how Vader is being, you know, treated by Palps, they would be shocked at how, you know, he kind of pushes him around and, you know, makes him put himself in situations that no one else would ever agree to. So, you know, I almost think that the people under Vader's command have a light version, a very light, kind version of what it must be like to be ruled by somebody who's ruled by the dark side, so to speak. But, you know, there's a lot of tension and agony, unfortunately, for Darth Vader at this moment. And, you know, he has to own it. That's the worst part, is that he has to own it and pretend like everything's fine and go on. You know, this is like the job that you have that you hate. You know, you just have to wake up in the morning and shake off any kind of things that are telling you not to get out of bed. And he doesn't, you know, he can't pretend like this is like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to change professions. No, he can't do that. He's locked in. He's totally locked in. And, you know, it's actually, it's a little sad, honestly. When you think about it, to have this unfortunate situation for him, where he just really has no recourse. And it would be interesting if the contemplation moment ever came, which I doubt it does, where he does see Obi-Wan and he's like, you know, get me the hell out of this, you know, like, but, unfortunately,
that would be interesting.
It would be.
There was a fleeting moment.
Yeah, for a fleeting moment, you know, he could feel the goodness in him or something like that. I mean, we've seen Ahsoka feel when twice we saw during Order 66, she felt Anakin's actions. And then she also felt it in Rebels when she finally re-encountered Vader. And she was like, oh my God, you know, she knew what could sense him there. And, you know, we know they can sense each other as someone else. Many of you have already said on the panel. You know, I think that's going to be the most shocking thing. That'll probably be the most likely thing first, because if they're in proximity to one another, they sense one another. So that'll be like, you know, you could see Obi-Wan he has to control himself, right? But inside he's filled with absolute disgust. And then perhaps the greatest shock in his life when he sees Vader in that horribly repulsive suit, which was made to be repulsive. It's not cool. Well, maybe it is kind of cool looking if you want to look like that, but, you know, I think they could have come up with a better design for him, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. I wouldn't have chosen that design for myself. I know I would have chosen something a little bit cooler looking, but it was made almost, it's like, it's become that on top of everything has become a burden too, you know, like this suit, and he has to own that too. You know, I'm sure everybody's like, why is he in that weird suit? You know, like, so that's something to think about in the sense that he's changed his direction in life, but also kind of changed his identity in a way, because he was such a beautiful, handsome, attractive guy, wasn't he? I mean, you know, to be honest, you know, about it. So people would be shocked to see that this is the same person. You'd be flabbergasted and, of course, terrified, because the costume looks intimidating. But you know, he's suffering in there. It's terrible for him. But he's going to be a soldier. He's just going to keep going, because Palps has his finger on him. Palps can push every last nerve that Vader has, constantly pushing it. You know, it's maybe one of the worst situations ever.
Yeah, you know, and you bring up a good point. I'm going to go to Lael here with that. It's almost like he took his soul and put it in that suit. You know, and it's like, okay, I've got you now. You're in here. This is you. Get used to it. Deal with it. Give in to your anger and do as I say. And we got to remember, it was very, very emotional. The end of Revenge of the Sith. It was like wow. I thought it was very, very emotional anyway, on so many levels. I'm wondering if 10 years later, it's more about, and I think you hit this, Lael, with Vader being kind of hot at this point where he is right now. And maybe with the Jedi running, it's sad, but now it's kind of like more like, I don't know, an episode of 24, if you will. It's got, we got to survive. We've got to go. We got to go type of deal. I'm almost kind of expecting that. But when Aram was speaking about this character here, and you were talking about how we probably wouldn't have to de-age her that much. He does sense her in the Force. Obviously, the end of the Clone Wars goes to the ice planet. I think he knows she's alive. Is there a chance that he can sense her? What are your feelings? Do we get something, a mention of Ahsoka in here? Do they show her in this series to kind of fill up a little bit of what's going on, and also how Anakin is dealing with his former student?
Lael, you're muted.
You're muted.
That's crazy. I think honestly they feel each other. But here's the thing: is like she, even knowing, because when we got a chance to basically, because you got to remember, like everything that was happening with, Revenge of the Sith simultaneously, kind of connected itself to Clone Wars. We saw that, how beautifully they did season 7, where everything tied in together. Like that last episode, the last 3 episodes of season 7 tied everything in with such a incredible bow. Knowing that the 501st was split in 2 different factions, one with, Anakin, one with Ahsoka, and their loyalty to her at that time until Order 66, basically her helping Rex to overcome, what he actually overcame at that time. Her knowing and even feeling through the Force that Order 66 was happening, because it wasn't just Yoda that was actually feeling that. It was anyone who was actually connected to the Force actually feeling that, and knowing that, look, your comrades are being slaughtered and the trust is basically gone at that point. Her knowing and even feeling through the Force that Anakin had gone down a much terrible path. She felt that because there was a connection between them, like literally there was. So her, even at the end of it, where we see that one of the Star Destroyers crashes into that planet, her basically burying or just leaving behind any trace or any type of attachment to her former master by leaving her sabers there, him landing on that planet and just knowing that he can feel her slightly through the Force, and the simple fact that there's a level of disappointment that she has in him, even a level of disappointment he has in himself, because he knows that he let her down, but he's fueled with this frustration, anger, and the simple fact that he feels as though that the Jedi Order, which plainly we can see that he feels as though they betrayed the Republic, and they betrayed him. He already, like, I think it would be crazy though if we saw Mace again, because I think he would have no type of attachment to Mace. He always hated Mace. We know that. He's always hated Mace. So if he saw Mace, it would just be no remorse. He's not pulling punches at that point. But what I'm saying is, it's like that connection that both Ahsoka and Vader have had, which is even, to be quite honest, was almost a stronger connection than he had with Obi-Wan. You know what I mean? Because he trusted her more than anything. And at the same time, he feels as though she slightly understood, his position. Because remember, Ahsoka had a chance to go back to the Order, but she just denounced it because he was like, look, I can't trust you anymore. Like if you were quick to basically blame me for a situation that had nothing to do with me, and you're just not, and on top of that, you couldn't see the truth when it was right there in front of your face. You're broken, like it's like a broken municipality. We see that basically every day. You're broken. You know what I mean? So how can I trust you? How can I trust, that the Jedi Order? So that she split herself away from it, but she also had a level of trust in Anakin that he would do the right thing. We saw that even with her duel with Maul, she wasn't willing to accept that, even though we knew Maul knew the truth. You know what I mean? She still wasn't really to accept that, and she ready to accept it and felt as though he can overcome that. Now she's dealing with the simple fact that no, he's actually going down that path. But I really, really think that in her, she feels that there is a slight chance that he can come back. But at the same time, she has to watch it, and she has to kind of sort of disconnect herself. So there's a lot going on. Like you see, there's no question in my mind, and I'm just saying this, and I could be wrong, and I'm telling people out there I could be wrong, but I am strongly feeling like we're going to see Ahsoka in the show. I really think we're going to see her at some point, either in a flashback. We may not see her in just the modern time, in their time at that point. But we're going to see it in flashbacks. I think we'll get that, and I'm telling you that is going to be incredible, bro. And I'm telling, and the reason why I say that is because on top of that is one of the reasons why. Again, Will, we talked about that. Why we didn't get that Obi-Wan armor, him in his armor from the Clone Wars. It's because they've been waiting for this show. They have been waiting for that show, man. And I think this is when we're going to actually finally see it for real. We're going to see that. We're going to see a swap out head sculpt of brother cousins. We're going to get a whole bunch of stuff, man. Like I just can't wait and see it, man. Like this, we're going to get that. But no, seriously, I think that we will definitely see that. But I even think, I don't quite know, but I'll tell you what we're not going to see. She's not going to see Vader on this show. She's not. I don't think she is. I don't think that's going to be held for what we got in Clone Wars, that first interaction between them. That's when I think that's going to happen. But I mean, not Clone Wars, but what was it? Rebels. That first interaction that we got from Rebels. So I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, man, I'm all in. I can't wait. I'm just so excited. And are you wearing black for a particular reason today? Because we're talking about because of Star Wars. Because I noticed, bro, like, when we're talking about certain things, like because when we were talking about the Multiverse of Madness, she had on all red to kind of represent Scarlet Witch. This conversation is about Star Wars, and she got Vader black on. So I'm like, yo, are you doing this on purpose?
I am. I actually am wearing black, and I'm hoping that we see just hardcore Vader. And I want blood, sweat, and tears. I want to see all sorts of, craziness going on, so that we can kind of understand. It's just his anxiety and the torment, and truly get a picture of someone who's incredibly troubled, and he's probably using every ounce of his power just to survive, even just survival mode of, getting through this, because I have a feeling he's thinking, is the rest of my life going to be like this? Oh my God. And then, then these other things happen. Obi-Wan happens. Whoa, he wasn't expecting that. This is like maybe one of the most challenging things he's had to deal with in his life. Ghosts from the past, so to speak. And so, yes, I hope that we see Vader, having those experiences, if they want to. If we don't see it, it's okay, because like I said, what I saw in the trailer so far was actually pretty satisfying. I'd be happy with a show that had what we saw in the trailer and elaborates on that. But I have a feeling there's still that unfinished business that we need to see. And, if they wanted to just do a series on Vader, which I'd be happy with completely, it might be too extreme. There won't be enough lightness in it. It might be too, dark, so to speak. So, but I'd be fine with both, honestly. But, I want to see, I want to see pain. I want to see suffering. I want to see the reality of what it's like. It sounds so mean, right? But let's just be honest about this. He's been brainwashed since he was young, and everybody's been against him. It's kind of sad, because if you had parents and you had a fight like that between, someone who was looking after you, or you're someplace, your mom and dad would have gone and picked you up and brought you home, and it's going to be okay. There was no one to do that for him. He had Palps. Can you imagine how, lack of understanding Palps must have been towards him? And we kind of saw a scene of it. And it was just, Palps was like, man, what am I going to do now with this? But he just imagined not ever even getting a hug. It just seems like such a horrible lifestyle to lead. And so, I think that's something to think about. I don't know how he survives it all, honestly.
Hey, real quick. Can I show you something real quick? Aries, that I want to see.
Please put it up.
I want to see this, bro. I would love to see something like this.
All right, let me go ahead and add this to the stream.
This would be amazing just to see this. Just to see this. I just want to see this in live action on screen once. Not saying we're going to see this with Obi-Wan, but I would love to see this on live action at least one time. At least one time, bro.
Now, is that Padme?
Yeah, that's Padme. This would be such a beautiful scene, bro. Not saying we will, but it would be beautiful if we saw it.
It's funny that you bring this up because how much it's dramatic. He loved her. He was focused on everything about Padme. In Revenge of the Sith, everything was about her. I mean, Attack of the Clones, his whole world. And I think sometimes when we look at that scene at the end of Revenge of the Sith, because we look at that scene where Darth Vader yells out no, it's like, oh, that's not like the typical Vader I know. But that's a lot of pain to lose somebody who also pregnant. He could be like Artem saying, like really, really suffering, which probably with the Emperor turns into a real mean SOB, a lot of anger.
Yeah, it's weird now that you're explaining that. It almost gives me like Arthur Fleck vibes, where basically he has this very traumatic. Arthur Fleck was never the chosen one like Anakin was, so we didn't have that much pressure on him. But how life just kind of gives you a raw deal, so to speak. And Anakin at this point has got to be pretty frustrated with everything going on around him. I mean, he's lost everything he's ever cared about, always. He's got connected to Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon gets killed. Gets connected to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan basically kills him. And then Padme basically, is gone. And Vader at this point probably thinks that the children are gone. I don't know if he even has any idea that they, are alive or at all. So, I think you're going to see, what I would hope to see Vader a little more broken than we have in previous installments, because I'd like to see kind of that inner conflict a little bit more, because that's one of the things people liked about Kylo. Kylo was pretty open in his monologues about, when he was in the, meditation chamber and things like that, right? Where he's talking about what's expected of him and how he's conflicted, how he's pulled to the light, so to speak. Vader may not be feeling the pull to the light, but at least if Vader kind of has something like that where you kind of understand, you feel for him, you can at least empathize with his situation. You can understand, I think that's the best villains. And I always come back to Thanos too on this and Loki, you understand them. So you understand why they feel so strongly that what they're doing is necessary. Right. And I think if they give us a little bit more into that with Vader, I think we'll connect with him that much more. So the character couldn't be better already, but I think he could be. I think if you give him a little bit more development about how this is weighing on him after 10 years, I think that what it's like to be Darth Vader. I think if you give us some insight into that, I think that would be really rewarding and satisfying. Just the question is, our pointed out, is how dark does Disney want to go with this? Because they tend to take their shows a little bit lighter. Even in Mando, some people get cut in half in Book of Boba, but it's not as dark as we wanted that show to be, not as gritty, right? Didn't feel like The Godfather as much like we wanted, right? I'm hoping with this show they at least have some of that, like Vader does, maybe some executions and some things like that, where he's very stoic in the mask and you never would know it's affecting him, but off screen, behind the closed doors, it's affecting him a little bit. He's still getting used to being so ruthless. So, and I think that would be something I'd like to see. So
yeah, no, it's a good point. Brother Cousins, Will brings up a good point there, because I always felt that Revenge of the Sith was probably the
Thanks, man. I have a good point every blue.
Good job, Will.
Like that.
Well,
every once in a while.
I mean, at least for me, Revenge of the Sith, I think, is the darkest of all of them.
Yeah.
I especially the second half. I really feel like it is dark. Matter of fact, if memory serves me right, I think they were struggling with the rating. with that, Jay. Eventually was
I'll take this
vaguely
down.
remember that.
PG-13. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I think it's going to have some of those vibes. I think it'll have some of those vibes in there. And how dark you think it'll go?
I think it has to be. Dealing with the subject matter, definitely has. I mean, with Darth Vader, I mean, this dude killed kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Brutally.
He's
Yeah,
so
he
cool. He
did.
looks cool, but he killed he killed
Yeah.
younglings. This
Yeah.
dude, man, this is a bad SOB. So it
Yeah.
has to have a little bit of that darkness in it. And
Mhm,
like just going back to what Will said, definitely, I want to see a peek underneath the helmet. I want to see, like you said, that affecting him, like because he's still a young Darth Vader at this point. He's not as ruthless as in battle worn from when we seen him in A New Hope up until Empire Strikes Back and Jedi. He's
mhm.
he's not there yet, but seeing him young, still like all this being all new and all fresh, and him still, like that has to definitely take a toll on his mental, and this.
Yeah.
And I think we're definitely going to see that. But to answer your question, yes, absolutely. I think it has to have that. I think if it lacks that, I'm not going to say it's exactly a failure, but they failed on that point of it, because that was the thing. When Star Wars does get dark, like in Mando, when he in Book of Boba Fett, when he did cut him in half, I was like, oh my god, I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this is a kid's show. Hold on, but we need those. We do need those moments.
Those
to tell
moments,
the
yeah.
story. Those stories.
Yeah.
Those moments are very important to drive the narrative and to tell a story. I mean, that's what we need. So yeah, it definitely has to.
And I think you just don't want to make Vader too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like if you give him a little bit more, I think you can. Not that he's not one of the greatest villains of all time, still, but I think if we get a little bit more, I think about this time period, I think that would be cool. But instead of just a big, villain in a black suit, he's Darth Vader. I want him to kind of be more than that. Like just showing up as Darth Vader is badass, but I want to kind of get connected with him a little bit more. Like
I want to see, because here's the thing, because Aries, you touched on this, was I think you touched on this as well. Like the simple fact that yes, we're getting, it's always basically a position of power, but there's levels to it. We have the Emperor, we have Vader, we have Tarkin, but don't forget that we have the Emperor and how he basically treats. Just imagine this. How Vader is, the treatment that he receives from the Emperor is also being dwindled down to the Inquisitors, because we know that Vader is over the Inquisitors. You know what I mean? So they have to answer to him as well. So I cannot wait to hear and see that interaction between Vader, and the Grand Inquisitor, Vader with the rest of, because seriously, like they have something to prove, because they're not. The thing is, you got to keep in mind that the Inquisitors aren't fully fleshed out Sith. You know what I mean? They aren't. You know what I mean? They're not on that level yet. They're powerful, but they're not as powerful as they could be. You know what I mean? So it's like they're in training in a sense, if you want to look at it that way. But it's just going to be really, really good to see that interaction. And like seeing this picture, like this is haunting, bro. Like that power, that level of power is incredible. So yeah, I can't wait, bro. I get the way they are tying this stuff in together. Even Throne looks like Will. You know what I mean? I just can't wait.
I wish I had that hair. I'll be blue for that hair.
I wouldn't want to be called to the principal office by any of these guys.
Hell no, man. Hell no. Like straight up, it's like, yo, you might want to change occupations after this, bro. I'll be like, you know what? I'm out. I'm out. Yeah. I can't. Like, it's just too much. I
it's
can't.
Like that SNL Kylo Ren skit.
Hell yeah, bro. Straight up. Nope, I'm out.
Even by Tarkin, I would just be like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'd be like, nah. I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
But you know what? It's crazy, though, because last night I was watching Rogue One. And I'm like, yo, now that I watch Rogue One and then I basically see like how good deepfake is looking right now, and I look at Rogue One, I'm like, yo, Tarkin looked terrible. Yeah. Bro. He looked terrible, but I was like, you know what? For what it was at that time, I was excited.
Yeah,
so. Right.
Well, now I want to stay with you with this, because I feel like are they going to take an opportunity to not only tell us about some of the struggles that Vader is having, obviously with losing his love and a lot of the things we were talking about here, but what about the struggles Is the Emperor going to try and intimidate him or give him pressure by, praising something that Moff Tarkin did? We also got to remember that Thrawn is around during this time, not really in helping building the Death Star. Do they take this opportunity to kind of give you a little bit about what goes inside the hierarchy of the Empire? Do they do that to give us a little bit of a glimpse, even if it's from afar, or if from a cameo on Thrawn, on where he came from? What do you think?
I don't know. I think again, like I said, it's that level of power. And remember, that the death of Padme is that dangling that dangling carrot that the Emperor has over Vader, because he's using that to his advantage. That's what he's been doing the entire time. Is the simple fact that he's guilting him in a sense. You know what I mean? And remember, right now, Vader has no idea that they were twins. All he knows is they were Luke. It was just Luke, or actually that there was a child. He doesn't even. I don't even think he knows whether it's a boy or girl at this particular point. He just knows that there was a child. He doesn't even know right now. I guess he doesn't know that the child was even alive yet. So,
or they're twins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He has no idea that they were twins. So again, it's that level of power that's being dangled. Emperor is basically playing his cards because he's the end all be all. He sees pretty much everything. And kind of has it well calculated before it even happens. Thrawn, of course, is a strategic piece, as well as Tarkin. But again, we know that no one really speaks to the Emperor, unless Vader is present. You know what I mean? So Vader is like that communication from the Emperor through Vader to Tarkin and whoever else. That's just basically the level of power. That's how it's held. But again, you never know. Like behind closed doors, the Emperor might be like, "Hey, I, kind of like what Tarkin did with that. We see the construction of the Death Star coming on because we see he's overseeing that. He took that away from Krennic. Krennic's gone, so now that's basically Tarkin. All the way. So I like basically where this is going. But I mean, again, it's because remember, like I said, we have Tarkin, we know what happens with the Death Star. We know what happens to Tarkin, and then you have Thrawn, you know what I mean? So there's levels to this whole game here, you know what I mean? And again, like I said, there's always that dangling carrot, and behind the scenes, and Vader, again, is being told what to do and how to assert himself and how he has to have a certain level of power when it comes to, people beneath him, individuals beneath him, and he can't disappoint the Emperor, by any, he doesn't want to disappoint him. That's how he's always been. You know what I mean? Even as a child growing up under him, he's always wanted to make sure that he was doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And in a sense, the Emperor was that father figure to him. You know what I mean? It wasn't, we heard him say something to Obi-Wan, but I think they basically grew to become brothers, if anything, but, Palpatine was more like that father figure. Palpatine was that person he can go through and he felt that he trusted at that point. So, of course, he's doing everything that he can do to make sure that he's in good graces, basically because it's like his only attachment to like what is called or what he knows is family, until he discovers otherwise. So, there's a lot going on. There's a lot at play. And it would be, it would be so dope just to basically see all three of them in the same room. You know what I mean? Or all four of them in the same room. That would be incredible just to see that discussion. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but Tarkin has to look like Will. But that would be incredible.
It's true.
Come on. No, dude, you make me. Wow. And we're talking about this. I don't know. We're talking about this. That just sent chills down my spine to think about having these guys in the same room. Are you kidding me? Maybe with a conference. I don't know. Wow. But I'm going to play this. You and I talked about this. We were talking about Ahsoka. I think Lael brings up great points. And by the way, I'm with you, Lael. I actually think we're going to see here in perhaps a flashback scene, certainly a mention of her. I think they're going to tie some things together while they're doing this. But we're all talking about Order 66. We're all talking about Jedi being hunted. We're all talking about prominent Jedi that people knew about that the Emperor wants gone. Now, I got to play this clip because this person's running away running away from table 66. Let's go. All right, we talked about it. We talked about this, Artem. I think we're going to learn more. I don't know. I have a thought, and I know you and I thought the same thing, that perhaps Anakin maybe has something to do with that scene, the 501sts. I don't know. I think there's a lot of possibilities here, but I think they're going to use this opportunities to maybe fill in some of the gaps there. What do you think?
It would be great if they did that. It's not absolutely necessary in the series to do that, but it would be great to see the continuation of what we were shown. Obviously we know Anakin entered the Jedi Temple with the 501st. That's the one thing that we know for sure, was that he kind of walking and they were with him. So there's no reason to think that they were separated at any moment. And, clearly this moment feels like it's the moment that they first entered the Jedi Temple, or that same day. It feels like it's that same day. It doesn't feel like it's a few weeks later after everybody's been killed and, there's nobody else around. This feels like, oh, they're coming in. We got to do something. And
right.
It feels like it's that a day of attack. And so the person we know who was with the 501st was Anakin. And we also know that, Grogu has said that there was, or at least not Grogu, but Grogu has told Ahsoka, let's say in her translation of things from what he's told her, that, there were some dark times. And, many of us have speculated, or at least we believe that he was at some point, Grogu was at some point, captured by the Empire and experimented on or done things to. And wouldn't it be something? I mean, it certainly would be maybe not surprising after what they showed us in season 1 of the Book of Boba Fett, but perhaps reaffirming if we saw who actually saved Grogu from Order 66. And, I hate seeing his little face because he looks, so scared and, terrified about it. I don't like to see that part, and I'm like, he shouldn't have to see that, he's too young, but it's okay. I got over it. But I always want what's best for Grogu as far as I'm concerned. He didn't want to recall these memories, and I felt very conflicted when Luke I didn't even know Luke could do that. So there's a lot of things Luke can do apparently that I'm completely unaware of, but I didn't know that could be done, although I did kind of see something like that in the Clone Wars, but it wasn't quite the same thing. But my point being that I didn't know Luke could help him remember things that had happened. And that's a little scary because, you think about it, you want to block certain things and it's always in there. It seems like a Force user can force you into remembering things that you don't want to recall. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that Luke saw the vision of the memory, and Luke knows who saved Grogu. Luke has that answer. And I think it would be quite a thing if he saw it was his father who had saved Grogu. But whoever did save Grogu, he did have a dark time. And, we're all wondering, well, what was that dark time? Wouldn't it be interesting if we found out what it was? Maybe not see a whole Grogu, like levitation scene and, Grogu learning the Force sort of thing, but some sort of referral to it, and getting back to that picture we saw of the 4 heavies, if you will. I sure hope we do see something like that, but I don't want Thrawn to be a hologram because he'll be blue that way. And I just want to see him natural, like maybe they'll switch to Thrawn and then they'll switch back to, and then we can see him. But if they show him as a hologram, he's going to look blue anyway. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's all right. But, right? Because the holograms look blue when they're talking around a table. So it would be nice to see him at a command station, and you can see him the way he actually looks first time in live action. Would be fantastic. Just a little bit, not a whole lot. I don't need a whole lot. I just need a little hint, kind of like when we saw in the Clone Wars season 7 when Ahsoka was talking to members of the Jedi Council, and we saw everybody around. I was like, wow, we remember this scene. We remember this scene from Return of the Sith. So sorry, Revenge of the Sith. So it would be nice to see something like that recreated somehow. So yes, that's my
No, good thoughts. Welcome everybody in here. You're watching the Market Show live. We're spilling our coffee at our spotchka, talking about the Obi-Wan series here, and brother Cousins going off some of Ardom's thoughts here, and about these four guys too, but also about Grogu. 501sts. Anakin's in charge of the 501st. Before that scene, they did have the Jedi who they shot down. Wouldn't it be interesting if he has him stowed away somewhere? You know, you would have to think he's gone. He's missing from that temple because I think he's probably one of the most sought after Jedi in training that is out there, and probably something that could an entity that could be on a package that is on the Inquisitor's mind as well, not just Obi-Wan. And maybe I brought this up before. I feel like Vader, he was already telling Padme, come rule the galaxy with me. We can rule it together. This is my empire. You know, he's always talking about, I'll ditch the Emperor. I think he's like, he even told Mace, don't kill him. I need him. He didn't say, don't kill him. I love him. He was like, don't kill him. I need him to save her.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Maybe he took Grogu for a variety of reasons. Could be to have his own apprentice. It could be to train. It could be because he knew Mace liked him.
Could be.
I don't know. I mean, it could be. But I really feel like they showed us those 501sts not necessarily just for Mandalorian Season 3. That's what you're going to learn more. There could be. Because I kept, and maybe Mace is involved in this, and I think that somehow he knows about this. I just feel like there's a possibility. Would you be so shocked if Anakin had this little guy stowed away somewhere?
Not at all. I think we talked about that before on these panels. No, not at all, honestly. And I think that's kind of part of the reason why they kind of showed that to us in Book of Boba Fett. All of these shows, all of these Disney Plus shows are going to have connective tissue that latch on. They're all going to interconnect. So you're going to get little bits and pieces, and this ties into this, and this connects to that. So that would make, I wouldn't be too upset about that. And I think that is a big possibility at this point. Now, that reason why, because he was sent to kill all the Jedi and killing all the younglings and all that stuff. And he have this little, this baby Yoda right here. It may be something, it's a reason why what that reason is, we'll find out. And I think that it's really is highly possible.
Well, let me go to you on that, because one of the things I was talking to, talking to you also, Brother Cousins, and also the Aries Heritage show earlier this week with Aram about the way that they pulled off Grogu in the final episode of Book of Boba Fett. It was almost like he wasn't there. It was almost like he was R2. The way that they did it, he was around like BB-8 or R2. It wasn't so much of him. It was more Mando, more Boba Fett, more fighting. And I was like, wow, if you're going to give me him, but he's around like R2 and not really the main story all the time, and he can go kick butt and he's kind of in there. People know he's there. Okay, you're satisfying a lot of the common folk. Oh, look, he's there. I thought it was kind of brilliant the way that they did it, in my view. Wasn't oversaturated. So for me, I wouldn't mind if during the show, if it's just you discover that something happened there, and he's obviously part of the hunt. They're hunting him now, obviously, in The Mandalorian. I mean, so he can be a very, very highly sought after for many years. So it wouldn't shock me if he's one of the ones on the list to hunt down.
Yeah, that's actually not a crazy idea, Aries, because I think with Grogu, they want to, use him as much as possible at this point. I mean, he's such a moneymaker. I mean, he's a fan favorite at this point because of how cute and adorable he is, right? So I think it's just one of those characters that they're going to capitalize on. Like you said, R2, it's like R2 on steroids because like R2 people like, he was fun, he was kind of adorable, right? But Grogu like takes that 5 steps higher, right? So, and he has Jedi powers. So like now he's even more important to the plot than even R2 could be. So I think, yeah, man, I think they could totally use him in other things, and they will continue to do so. I don't think that he, like for a while I thought maybe like he was going to meet his end at the hands of Kylo, but I don't think that's the case now. So I mean, I think they're gonna try to find a way to keep using him as much as possible and throw him in whatever they can. And yeah, and as far as these 4 guys showing up together, chronologically that does make sense. It could be possible, right?
Yeah.
So like these 4, because I haven't seen Rebels and Clone Wars, so I don't know about Thrawn as much.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Okay, yeah, because I mean, like you said, you guys have said they already teased Thrawn. They introduced him even in The Mandalorian. So you know, Ahsoka's like, "Where's Thrawn? Where's he at?" So you know, there could totally be a way to slide this type of stuff in there. But yeah, Ayers, I think clearly these shows are really about cameos and tie-ins and creating and making the universe feel cohesive. They're kind of doing like a somewhat Marvel-ish type. A little bit like that. Everyone has their own show. They interconnect. They come on each other's shows. Like, so they're kind of doing that, just kind of like a lesser Marvel in terms of like Marvel has it on a much bigger scale, like with Avengers and stuff. I don't know if we'll have like a Star Wars show that's like an Avengers show, where like you get all the characters coming together for one show. I don't know if you're going to get that. But I do think you could see like a situation like this where they're all around a table saying like, hey. And you're right, Aries. What other Jedi are they looking for? And maybe in that Obi-Wan channel, there's a big misdirect. Maybe they're like, "Hey, where is he?" They may not be talking about Obi-Wan. They might be talking about another Jedi, or maybe they know about Luke and they just don't know where he is. Maybe they're saying, "Where is he?" Right, and that's why Owen's in there because he's like, "Oh, I have no idea."
Maybe Vader's like you see a lot of cop shows, and they're like, "You let me deal with him," or that
exactly.
He's mine.
Yeah, but and I think it could be the case. And like Mario was pointing out, Beard God in the comments earlier, they have a person hanging in the streets. So hopefully we do get some of that dark stuff in the show. We don't want it to be too dark because it's still a Disney show. But I as long as they show the darker side of the dark side, then I think that's a good mix, a good balance.
Yeah, Lael, let me get your final thoughts on that before we move to the next closing thing here. Your thoughts, your final thoughts on these 4, whether it's through holograms or through a short time in a meeting room like they had in A New Hope with the different generals or whatnot, and also Grogu, obviously a highly sought after Jedi. They're hunting down Jedi, using it as an opportunity to fill in put another link in the chain, if you will.
Okay, I'm gonna take a page from Wildcard Willie's book and say that I don't want to see him in this series. I don't want any hint of Grogu in this series at all. I don't want them to mention Grogu. I don't want any hint. I think basically it's best to have it. Okay, Grogu I can more so see tied in with the Mandalorian. I mean, with Mandalorian, of course. I can see Grogu definitely tied in with Ahsoka, of course. But not with this, because the thing is, we're taking it away from what the narrative is the simple fact that Obi-Wan is doing his best to keep Luke safe. He's doing his best to keep Luke. When you throw too many things on this platter with only 6 episodes, you're taking the focus off of what's really there, and you're relying on one relying on one character to kind of hold the weight. Okay, it was okay when they threw it in with Boba Fett, when really it wasn't, because it took away from what we were trying to do. I don't want them to do it. I want the pure focus to be on Obi-Wan the entire time. Obi-Wan, Luke, Inquisitors, Vader, everything there. No, I do not. Please, if they can hear me now, do not basically shoehorn Grogu. If anything, we're going to find out about Grogu's past in The Mandalorian, or we'll find out about Grogu's past with Ahsoka. I do not want that in Obi-Wan, because again, it's just like you're starting out Goo and you throw that in, and it's like, people don't want to get oversaturated with it. They don't want to get oversaturated with Grogu himself. I mean, yes, he's a plot device. Yes, he's basically a cute little whatever that they're using to market, but I don't think that. I think, look, this show markets itself. Obi-Wan, Luke, Vader. You have all these cards on the table, with the Inquisitors. You have all of that there. You don't need to have Grogu in this at all. Like,
not
you
when you
really
have Vader
don't.
and Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
no.
Obi-Wan
you don't need him.
You don't need that. No. Obi-Wan. I mean, Boba Fett was a totally different thing, because we didn't know anything about his lineage. We didn't know anything about too much about his history. So of course they needed us to see certain things. But yeah, I don't want to actually see that here. Yeah, I don't.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Too much of a good thing. Grogu was good, but I think they may be starting to play him out a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like you don't want that.
So much. Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want to play it out way too much. You want to leave him to where he needs to be. Right now, they actually showed a hint of that in, Boba Fett. We know that he's back with Mando now. We know that actually is going to be a continuing theme with season 3. So we already know that. So keep that there. I think with this, there's a story that needs to be told. There's a lot that we want to tie in. And in 6 episodes, that's not part of a story that I actually want to see. I just want to see this the way we see it and enjoy it for what it is. And then as far as seeing them 4 in a room, I think that is highly possible, because I think that, we could get that meeting. We could, and actually I just want to see the look on their faces, in front of the Emperor, him, asserting his power. You know what I mean? I would love to see something like that. But yeah, I mean, that I'm all in for. I mean, because the thing is, I want to feel, look, this nostalgia takes me back to when like OG's name, when Star Wars was just Star Wars. This is what Obi-Wan does for me. It takes me back to when Star Wars was just Star Wars. Hearing Duel of the Fates, hearing basically, and knowing that, we do have the great John Williams back to do whatever he's doing with this season. I'm excited about it, man. Like, so I think all of that is where it needs to stay, and we're good with that. But yeah, Grogu, and yeah, I don't think he needs to be a part. And it's not me hating on Grogu, because it is what it is. And he's a character that's here and he's going to be here, but I just don't think we need him here. You know what I mean? I think we have enough cards on the table to play with without adding a Joker. You know what I mean? So we don't need that. So we're good.
Yeah, Vader and Obi-Wan is the draw. We don't need another Grogu to sell it. Yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, if we need Grogu to sell Vader, there's a problem.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right.
Well, Obi-Wan, for
I
that matter.
Think, we'll have to see. They don't need to. They could kind of do it in the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series for sure. I don't necessarily. I agree, Lael. I don't think that they need to do it in here. If they do it in here, hopefully it's done tastefully. But I want to stay with you, Lael, because I put this image up on the screen. You mentioned him earlier. Now, he's not dead yet here.
Yes,
and
he's not. He's definitely
talk
not
to me.
dead
Is
yet.
it possible?
He's not dead yet. He's definitely not dead yet. But I don't. Here's the thing. If we see him, I don't see. There's not going to be an exchange with Obi-Wan, because he doesn't yet know that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine. You know what I mean? And still, just keep in mind, like, there's a lot still going on. Around this period, Maul's still trying to find certain things, even himself, even the other half of him. So, but I'm just joking. I'm just joking. No, I mean, like, literally, I don't. I mean, hey, if we see it though, I'll be cool with that. If we see him in the underworld part of it, I'll be cool with that. Like, literally, I'd be straight. I'd be fine, because yes, he's technically still around. I mean, but I mean, hey, put it this way. They didn't play, if it's coincidental, but they didn't play Duel of the Fates for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
I know.
you know what I mean? So there could be a way that we get a hint of Maul, like, straight up. Ray Park he's a slick dude too, because he's been hinting a couple of things within the last couple of years. So who knows? But if they did show it, man, I'm all in. Like, come on, man, give me Maul. I mean, come on, man. Like, even like, straight up, if I know they won't do this, but if we see Maul jealous of the simple fact that the Emperor has chosen someone else and he knows he hates it, if we see Maul attack Vader,
my God,
that's what I want to ask you. I mean, I feel like you're right. He's not going to go with Obi-Wan, probably. But while they're hunting down these Jedi, maybe they stumble around Maul. Maybe Maul does like they're saying with Vader. That would be an interesting sidebar, wouldn't it?
That would be, because we know how much Maul hates the Emperor. We know that around this time, Dooku is gone. He's dead. There's no Dooku. Revenge of the Sith is over. There's no Dooku. There's no Grievous. There's just Vader. But we know that around this time, Maul, he's still alive. That would be crazy if we saw something like that. You know what I mean? If we saw that, that would be incredible, man. Like, that's that right there. Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, if we saw that,
tasty.
If we saw that, this Maul, this solo Maul, And that Clone War mall is going to be a hot commodity, bro.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
God.
If we see something like that, if we see that pop up, and I bet you we'll see a whole bunch of people versing, putting Maul up against Vader. Now, I'm saying, listen, now, I do want to say that I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. But if it did happen, I bet you any amount of money, Will's going to FaceTime me crying.
Yeah, I will, bro. I'll be straight tears.
Straight tears.
You make a good point, Lael, because that's the one thing we know for sure that has happened is that Maul does actually go to Tatooine and has his final moments in the arms, so to speak, of Obi-Wan. So it would be something to see that.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm
and
saying.
then actually, CT603 puts up, guys, the Inquisitors hunt Maul in Rebels.
Yeah, they do. They do. So that's
Well,
what I'm saying.
they're probably aware,
it's not out of the realm of possibility that we'll see Maul. And I seriously think, honestly, I think because there wasn't there a hold up. So on Rebels, we also saw an interaction with Lando, right? Didn't we get that? Didn't we get Lando? And did we get like a hint of Lando in Rebels? I believe. Didn't we? Or it was one of them? I think we did.
Yeah.
We did, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're going to see brother cousins walking around Tatooine. I bet you any amount of money, you know, right there, we go amount of money we're going to see, baby.
Oh, we definitely will.
Confirm or deny.
Brother,
Keep your secrets, brother cousins.
Oh man, that's going to be funny.
well, speaking of brother cousins, because all right, we're gonna try and do a hard stop here at like 8:15, 8:20. We're gonna go to the last couple things, and I want to bring this up because then this ties right into what we're talking about.
I'll be right back.
See ya.
Peace.
Brother cousins, with this here,
Ooh.
Yeah.
does this have? Is this going to come out before, during, after the show? What is your call on this? Does this even come out at all? Does this actually get like, oh, we're not going to get this now because we got other Obi-Wan? I mean, it's a valid point. You are going to get an Obi-Wan from the show. You make it too. You're probably going to get some, there's going to be interest in some of the other Obi-Wans in the market. But come on, how do you have a Clone Wars collection with what they're coming out with and not have this? But the flashback, is this going to be tied into a flashback? What say you?
Yes, that's what I think. I think we're going to get a flashback. I think they may do some like de-aging technology or something on Ewan McGregor, and we'll get this look in him and Anakin doing something like in a flashback story or something like that throughout the show. And as soon as that episode drops, it'd be the same thing that happened with the Boba 2-pack when he got the Tusken robes and everything, and then they dropped it. And you're gonna get that announcement right after that episode. Something like that, I could see them doing. That would be crazy and amazing, and I mean, it would just make sense. It would make sense why we haven't got it, why they haven't announced it yet. So yeah, I definitely see that happening. I'm praying that's what they do because we need this figure. We really do.
No, I'm gonna go to Will. You got 107 in here. Did you smash the like button yet, baby? It is a market show live with your Dark Jedi, Aries Darrington. Look at this fine panel that's in here. Come on. What table are you at? I'm serving it all up. I brought this heavy pot of coffee up on the screen plenty of times here tonight already. Will,
yeah,
I feel brother cousin's vibe with this. I could see it playing out actually exactly the way he said. There's also a part of me that realizes that we can never see this. I don't see it though. I feel like this has to come out. And I feel like brother cousins analogy makes the most sense to me. Yeah,
I would think so. I mean, there's really, I think, two reasons maybe why this figure wouldn't come out. Maybe there's something to do with Sideshow where, Hot Toys didn't want to piss them off for whatever reason. Or, they've been withholding it because they know that in the show, they've been given inside info, obviously, that they were going to see Obi-Wan in this outfit. So like, hey, why don't we just go and make that one and then market it as such that way and wait to release? They could put out this exact figure and just say, hey, it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi show version, Clone Wars flashback. But yeah, like I think that makes the most sense. I think that's the most logical explanation for this figure, why it hasn't come out yet, because Anakin's pretty damn close to release probably. So I think at this point, the fact that Obi-Wan isn't even up for pre-order, we have to think that there's logic behind that, right? We have to think there's a reason for that, because otherwise it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking that the reason most likely is that he is going to show up in the show in this outfit. There is going to be a flashback scene. Again, like I said, why bring back Hayden at all? I think the reason is to show him as Vader and to show him as Anakin and show the dichotomy, so to speak, right? So I think that's what we're going to get with this one. So I think this one is coming. You're going to get at least probably two Obi-Wans from the show. Like I said, maybe one Clone Wars outfit and then one, desert outfit that he's in now. So that would be most likely scenario to me, I think.
And it looks like Will.
I wish I had that hair, man. I need to get that hair transplant.
I don't know. I think that they're both onto something here. How hot would this figure be if he does show up in this outfit in this? Forget about all the Clone Wars figures that are selling like mad. I mean, that would make this a hot commodity.
It would. I think it would be perfect timing right now as far as I'm concerned. And, of course, we'll get an additional figure, I suspect, when the series ends, let's say when we see even more of Obi at this point in time. But I think it would be wonderful. I think this figure looks great. And, the timing would be great. And, obviously it's going to make sense in the context of the show. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the figures that are going to be appearing, and certainly any Obi figure usually turns out looking fantastic. So I'm ready for it. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, 16ScaleMan, Lael.
Yep.
How do you see this figure playing out with Hot Toys? Do you feel like we're going to get him in this outfit? In this show in a flashback? Do you feel?
I think we will. I think we will. I think basically we will. I think that's why they've actually been holding on to it for so long. They wanted to wait until this show dropped because it made sense. Now that I see it, and we're getting both Hayden and Ewan McGregor back in the same show, I think it makes sense. And there would be a flashback. I mean, you're not going to just put this out and not do anything with it. I think that I even think there was a possibility that Hot Toys was going to drop this, and Disney Plus or Disney at that time was probably, or Lucasfilm's like, wait, we got plans. We got plans. Like, you might want to hold off on that right now. I know people are going to be pissed off, but we got plans, because they're not going to just drop this and then not. Come on, man. We already know that Ewan McGregor is signed on for this, and his likeness is there. He's going to make some type of agreement. To have this. So I really think that we're going to see, this figure is going to be released. It's going to have to be quite honest. And it's going to make sense. We're going to see this version, and we're going to also see the, the Nomad version that we actually get of him on Tatooine with the longer hair and much older, more gray. You know what I mean? We're definitely going to see it, man. I really do. It's going to look like Will.
And then you have to wonder if this other thing is.
Greetings, fellow collectors. As you can see, I've taken the form of KG Collector. Now, is it possible that we will be getting Ahsoka pretty soon? And I say, stay for the ride and find out, because you'll never know when she will pop up. But let me just say, it's imminent. And is it possible we'll be getting more announcements and more releases for upcoming Star Wars projects? And I'll say, yes. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Dark Jedi himself, and you'll never know which form I'll be taking next. Bye-bye.
The wizard has great timing.
KG is a creepy ass mofo.
Yeah.
Lael, do you know KG is that creepy,
acting
bro?
so good.
Yeah, I did kind of.
He's just a really good actor. I mean, he gets paid the big bucks for a reason.
Big
So-
bucks.
Did you see his thumbnail, his name on the Six Scale reviews? They put up KG Chalamet instead of just KG.
Nice.
That was nice.
Oh my goodness. And that is kind of perfect timing from the Hot Toys Wizard taking on the likeness of KG. Make sure you subscribe to KG Collector. Come on. So look, this is the last thing I want to talk about tonight, because the Hot Toys Wizard came right on time, guys.
Oh, it's a soft spot, a sore spot for Lael, though.
Lael, Lael, let me start with you on her. I'm getting I'm getting a lot of messages. People are putting in the Facebook group. By the way, I have an awesome Facebook group on Facebook. Link is in the video description below. We talk a lot about what happens here at Six Scale Cantina, the videos. Also, SixthScaleCantina.com. We spill our coffee. We have coffee spilling posts. Come on. Make sure you go to video description and join us on Facebook. I got IG, Instagram on there as well. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they're getting shipping notifications or something, and that this is getting ready to ship. And I guess that means that at any moment, that must be what's going on, right? I mean, we can get it tonight because of that, right?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, to be quite
Is that
honest.
not enough? It's like I feel
It's
like
because we've
maybe
been
it's
talking
not
about
enough.
this for months now, man. And the thing is, like, though, Aries, we and I think pretty much all of us surmise that it's just because of how a sideshow. This has been held up because of sideshow.
Yes.
Because no other outlet right now is talking about it. So once they release it, then you'll basically start seeing it released from Hong Kong and other sites and stuff like that. That's what they've been waiting on. They've been basically just throwing a temper tantrum. They didn't want this released. They didn't want anything else because it's this, Loki, and whatever else. But this has been always in that conversation. So, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I haven't gotten an email yet. I know there's a few people that haven't actually gotten an email yet, and I'm still basically waiting. However, I actually got 2 of these figures. You know what I mean? So I have it from here and I have it from another source. So I already know that I'll have it. It's a matter of when it's going to be released, and we'll see. You know, that's just the bottom line, is we'll see when it drops. But I'm just, literally, like, if this is the case, and if Sideshow's doing this, I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, you got what you wanted, and it is what it is. But for everybody else, knowing that this was supposed to be released like last October, like literally,
Yeah.
like this was supposed to be released in October, bro. Like that's when it was originally supposed to drop, around October. You know what I mean? We had gotten Rex, like they said they would. We got it around that time. But this, again, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just way too much, man. Like, once she drops and once I get her, it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's just the way I see it right now. But I mean, I'm hoping, it could possibly be. I know it probably won't be tonight. It might be tomorrow night. I'm not really sure. But when it comes, I'm just in that position. When it comes, it just comes. You know what I mean? That's just the way I see it right now, because it's just like way too much. And I just hope these behind the scene wars between companies just stop, like literally just end sometime soon. But I mean, once I'm just like this, like the same way I was with Pennywise, the same way I was with all these. I just want to end the discussion and just have her in my hands and just let it be that. You know what I mean?
Come on.
Now, I will say I'm a bit nervous. I am, because I didn't like what I saw on that instruction manual. I didn't. I just really didn't like what I saw on that instruction manual. And those eyes look terrifying to me. It looked like it didn't look. I'm like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's not like you have to basically compare this to any actor's likeness. This is something that you've done on your own. So why can't you just leave it alone? You could have just done this, and I would have been cool. Like, this is what the eyes just, I don't know, man. Hopefully it's just the way it looks in black and white, but I don't know, man. At this point, I'm just nervous. And if it does, I'll probably have the hood on the entire time. Like, literally, man. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Lael brings up a couple of damn good points.
Yeah.
The whole thing was good because, I think it's because of maybe these wars. between and maybe Sideshow that this has been delayed, because it certainly does. He brings up a great point. Does certainly seems like that's the reason, because now all of a sudden, and I seen someone in here saying that they charged Sideshow charged him yesterday. Now, I don't know if that's because they put out an NRD that they charged them, or if they charge them that they actually say, hey, if this is shipping. I'm getting a lot of messages that this is coming out. I don't know if it's true. But I think that could be the reason that we've been waiting so long, is because of a war, and I want the war to stop as well.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be, Aries, because I think Sideshow is, seemingly made it pretty clear that they want to get, if not first batch, pretty close to it. So they don't want it to be as long of a delay from Hong Kong to U.S. buyers, which is great. I mean, in a sense, because us U.S. buyers, we kind of win in that. I mean, but the people who are, getting it overseas or getting first batch, it's all getting delayed so we can all kind of get it simultaneously. Because Brother Cousins knows, they sent an email out about Loki too. That's right. And Hot Toys is damn sure not announced Loki or Ahsoka as released. So Sideshow must have some info that we don't. Because they must say hey, we're going to get them over the next couple weeks and we're going to start charging you now because it is coming and we know they're releasing soon. But I think you guys are right. I mean, obviously, probably a big part of the holdup was getting Ahsoka on the boats, probably overseas, getting them through the ports, getting Ahsoka into the States. So yeah, she might have been because I think Dante was talking about it at one point. The rumor was that she was ready months ago. Yeah. She was ready a couple months ago, and it was just being held up because Sideshow wanted to release simultaneous, a worldwide simultaneous release. And that could be what they're doing with Loki and with others too. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do think she's coming soon, but we've been saying that for a while. She still has March listed on the website. So I'm going to go by that and say that she is coming this month. She could come as early as next week. I think that's most likely, but I've also said that 500 times now. So,
Right.
I mean, I've also since November, December, I'm yeah, she's probably next week, 2 weeks, and then she just never shows up. But again, with Pennywise, I did the same thing. So, that was 3 years. So, it's, it's a long time. So yeah, these, I'm sure this figure will make everyone happy. Yeah, the instruction manual was a little alarming, but I'm sure it will probably be fine. We're probably just overreacting to that. So, we'll see. Yeah, I think it'll be fine, Lael. So, I think she's coming soon. But again, we've all been wrong. So I'm going to assume she's coming this month. That's what I'm going to say.
That's it. So I'm just we see this. So is it going to happen to the Rosario Dawson version of it as well? Literally, are we going to see the same thing repeated? It's
both.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I got both paid off, ready to come. You know what I mean? So is this a matter of what's actually going to happen? You know what I mean? I don't know, but it's, it is what it is, man. Literally, we'll see.
And Brother Cousins, let's go to you with this. Yeah. This is our last thing we're talking about. I'm with Lael though. I don't like that manual, and I've talked about it before. Yeah. And I understand it's it's a manual. Who cares? Throw it any picture. No one looks at it anyway. But why are you including it then? Yeah. With the product. So I feel that they do have to improve. I've mentioned it before on some things. Yeah. But it's scary because I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think it's going to look like this. But I can't wait to see it so I can spill my coffee. But I'm not going to lie to you. There is a part in the back of my brain somewhere where I want to take a deep breath of relief to see it, so that the manual was just they don't care about it.
And that's what I'm waiting for. Just to put all that to bed. I'm just hoping.
He's got it. Yep.
This is Tom Holland from the upgrade suit, and it looks exactly the way it does when you get the figure. So, yeah.
Yeah,
bro. If she ends up sucking, people are gonna lose it.
I mean, that's
it's gonna be like Tony Stank.
I'm just at a point where I'm just tired of the figure. I'm tired of it. I don't even. I'm almost to the point where even when it comes, do I even review it? I'm just to the point. I'm just at that point now. I'm just I just want this. I just want it over. I really want the Rosario Dawson one. I'm ready just to skip to that one. I mean, and it looks like we're going to be waiting for that one now because we're waiting because they're not going to release them on top of each other, or are they? Because Hot Toys is crazy. That would just like just completely the snake eating its tail. Like what the hell if they if they do that? But I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Especially if this one looks crazy. And then my whole thing is, why were they tampering with it? It was fine. It was fine. Now, I guess with the whole headdress piece and everything, I guess they figured, well, hey, this would be a great place to, hey, we could take that off and we can, put a pearl eyeball rolling system in there. That's a great idea. Yeah, great idea if it looks like that. But if it looks like that instruction manual and her eyes are just doing like she just shocked, like
bro,
seen a ghost or some shit. It's gonna be like it's gonna be like we waited since September for this.
Yeah, bro.
Because we've been saying this since September. We've been saying, hey,
that was supposed to be when it came out, September, October originally.
Yeah.
And then they kept pushing it back month after month after month.
Mm-hmm.
So if people, and I mean, and the thing is, I'm gonna say it's Sideshow, and I have a love-hate relationship with Sideshow. I think they still do the best customer service ever when it comes to collectibles. I still do, but when it comes to releases and getting people and saying, hey, you order day one pre-order. I remember the internet broke and people were going crazy, and I put in my order for I got 2 from Sideshow actually, and yeah. If people are getting emails, I ain't get one. Where's mine? So this is, that's the thing. That's, and that's a common thing that happens with Sideshow. And that's just so damn frustrating. But I hope it comes out. I hope it does. I hope it comes out. Honestly, I'm hoping it comes out Monday. If it doesn't come out Monday or tomorrow evening or Monday, I'm still going to be upset. Even if it comes out on Wednesday, I'm still going to be upset. It needs to be out.
Brother Cousins, did you hear this too? Because I was hearing this as well. Maximum Rex says it's supposed to have released with Loki as well. That's what I'm hearing out there. Did you hear that as well? Anyone hear that?
Yeah, he got the email.
Yeah, I got actually an email from Sideshow. And with the Loki release, I actually was charged. Like I got the full amount. I called Sideshow, asked them, hey, I see it's still pending. Is still waiting to be preparing to be shipped. When's the figure coming? They were like, oh yeah, it's on its way. Like it'll be shipped out in like a couple of days. So if it's like that with Loki, I would think Ahsoka's the same way. But do not quote me on that. I don't know. People can get emails and get charged, and still it'll be waiting another couple of weeks. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Arlum, are you greatly anticipating this Clone Wars Ahsoka?
We are, but I agree with what everyone has said so far. It has been quite some time, and I was actually shocked that we didn't get it before they had announced the Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka, let's say, that we hadn't received it. That surprised me. And then I almost wondered whether they were going to, I guess I shouldn't have thought this, but I thought maybe they were going to cancel it or something. I almost thought that for a while, but yeah, this is such a great looking Ahsoka. This is a wonderful addition to my collection. Of course, getting it is the challenge. It really is the challenge. And if it doesn't look like this, I probably would send it back, because I've been looking at this image or images similar to this for so long now that I don't think I could take something different at this point. So, my level of expectation is essentially this figure that's on the screen. If it's different, I'm not quite sure whether I'd still want it.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And listen, 118 in here. Did you hit the like button yet, baby? You are watching the Market Show live here with this great panel. We're going to be going over what everything is going on everybody's channels here in just a few minutes. Last thoughts on everything we talked about. Lael, I'm going to start with you first. This last question, summarize it, my friend. Has there really ever been, except for, I guess, maybe when you and I were kids, maybe waiting in line to see, Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi? Because I remember those times. Outside then, has there really ever been a better time to be a Star Wars fan than maybe right now? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, like, because as much as people hate on the prequels, man, when Phantom Menace dropped, people were excited. They were literally excited. I mean, people were in lines. They were in droves. Like, I remember there was repeated, like everybody was going back to see it. They loved it. It was well received then, but a lot of people just, hated Jar Jar. We knew that. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, literally, bro, it's such an exciting time, but we also know it's a divisive time as well. You know what I mean? That people, they want to kind of wash that, that tainted taste of Boba Fett, of what we got from that last series, pretty much off the palate, because they're like, yo, I mean,
give me Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Give me Obi-Wan now. Like I said, we can move forward. And at the same time, it's like when you look at it, people are like, you know what, this Boba Fett could nearly make or break Star Wars going forward, especially with Obi-Wan, because the expectation was so much there that it would have been easier to accept Obi-Wan. Now it's like that it's, pretty much the pressure is on Obi-Wan to kind of bring people back to some type of unification at that point. You know what I mean? And it's like, it even shouldn't be that way, bro. It really shouldn't, but it is. You know what I mean? So there's not too much we can do about that. But I'm just happy it's coming, and I know Deborah Child's going to do us some justice. I know she's very passionate about it, and they have to be just as passionate to let her do all 6 episodes. You know what I mean? So they're confident that she's going to pull something off, and I'm really confident, and I think it's going to be, and it's good because it's crazy. Comes out the 25th. I will be in Los Angeles, California, getting ready for the celebration. You know what I mean? So, that's going to be amazing. Like, it's just, that's going to be an experience in its own. So I can't wait. Definitely.
Yeah, Will.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Has there ever been, last thing here, a better time to be a Star Wars fan than now? And again, for me, I loved the prequels. I also love the sequels too. I think everybody knows by 2 problems with it. I don't know. I just feel like now's the time.
Yeah, and I think it's a great time. I mean, Lael does raise a good point about sort of cleansing the palate, so to speak, with what Book of Boba offered. Because, like I said, I don't think it was terrible, but I don't think it was as good as we all wanted it to be. I don't think it reached Mandalorian heights. And after the bar was set by Mandalorian, we were expecting something as good, or if not a little bit better, and it just didn't quite reach that. So, for most of us anyway, not for all of us. Some people really loved it. That's great. But I still think it's Star Wars is in a good place right now. But, as much as I love the sequels, I don't love Last Jedi, but I do love the other 2. Like, Star Wars was not really in a great place with the fandom after the sequels. The reason it is now is because of Mandalorian, obviously.
Right.
Mandalorian pretty much saved Star Wars for the majority of fans, because Mandalorian, that's why they owe an incredible debt, Disney does, and Lucasfilm, to Mandalorian, because that show really did so much to bring the franchise back to the heights that it could reach. So yeah, I mean, I think it's still a good time though, because we're about to get Mandalorian season 3. We're getting Ahsoka show eventually. We're getting this Obi-Wan show. I think they're all going to be good. So yeah, I mean, it's probably the best time areas because of the volume of content you're getting, and also the quality that you're getting overall, because before you just got films, and if George Lucas still owned Star Wars, you wouldn't be getting any of this stuff probably.
You're a good point.
So, that's something people I sometimes tend to forget too. Like, from my recollection, he said he wasn't going to make any more, right? So, like, he was going to let the IP basically die. And I even saw one clip the other day where he was like, yeah, I don't want it to become Star Trek, where there's a million movies and, that type of thing. So I think, if anything, yeah, we don't always love what Disney does, but, we are getting Star Wars content nonetheless, and Star Wars is staying in the spotlight because of Disney. So, and we did get Mandalorian, and like I said, I love the sequel, so that's what kind of made me a huge Star Wars fan, because I had watched the originals when I was younger, but I wasn't like crazy Star Wars fan, but I became one because of the sequels, because they reinvigorated my passion for them. Then I went back and watched the other 6, and then I was like, oh, okay, I remember why these were pretty great. So, there are people out there like me, I think, that feel that way, that saw the sequels and became big fans because of it. So if anything, Disney did kind of achieve their one goal of bringing in new fans, so to speak. I think they did bring in some. So, I think it's in a good place, especially if Obi-Wan ends up being as good as we think it is.
Yeah.
No, good thoughts. Brother Cousins, your thoughts on Star Wars right now. Ever been a better time from your perspective? And go.
With all that, like, the disconnected stuff that was happening in the Book of Boba Fett, I just gotta say, that episode with Luke, the training montage, the lightsaber, it brought me back to my childhood.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad the Book of Boba Fett was.
Yeah.
We all owe a debt to those 2 episodes in that series.
It's the Mandalorian. I mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it was that it's a great time to be a Star Wars fan, still is. And for all the people that are kind of on the fence with Obi-Wan, and they're like, and I know it was some YouTubers out there. It was like, oh my God, I'm seeing Sand again. Why Sand? I'm like, that's part of the story. He has to be. You don't know Star Wars.
To be on Tatooine.
Yeah,
it has to be. What the hell? You know, and it irks me because I'm like, these people, did they well, I don't get it. But that comes with it. But with that being said, Obi-Wan's gonna be fine. This is what I've been waiting for. I think we're all in agreement here that Obi-Wan is like the closest thing to the OT. That's everything else is kind of like an offshoot, and they have some Star Wars characters come in and out of it, but this is like dealing with the OT right here, which like Lael was saying earlier, which is why we don't need a Grogu, we don't need all that stuff. Let's just deal with these OT prequel characters, which lead into it's still OT, and let's have at it. And with it being 6 episodes, and with them going with one director, I love when it's like even when music producers you can listen to an album that's produced top to bottom by one producer, and then you listen to an album that's produced by multiple producers. Usually the albums that are classics are the albums that are done by one producer.
More cohesive.
It's more cohesive. You look at I know we're going in different realms here, but if you look at like Michael Jackson's Thriller, you look at all that, those albums, all that stuff, it's more cohesive. It comes together. And with Deborah Child doing all of these episodes, doing 6 episodes straight, I really think it's in good hands, and I think we got nothing to be worried about. I think it's going to be good, and I think this is a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Even with all the mess, it's only one big blur, only one big blotch on Star Wars, even in the prequel series to me, and that's them killing off Luke. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest. But outside of that, it's still a great time to be a Star Wars fan, and we're getting a lot of great content.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ashley Chase, thank you so much. We're mentioning everybody here. You're all awesome. Keep up the awesome work you guys do. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody out there putting in so many comments like that and for participating today. We're getting to the conclusion here of the show. We're going to go over everybody's thing. But Artem, how fitting, you get your final thoughts here for every bit a better time to be a Star Wars fan. We kind of started talking about this on Wednesday, and this has been fun tonight. But yeah, for me, I just can't remember a more jolly time with Star Wars.
It certainly is a time to be grateful for what we're getting. We certainly are getting a variety of different things. We certainly are not getting, just one type of show. We've got an animated series. We're getting, these live action series. I'm assuming that we will get a few more movies in the next few years, maybe over the next 10 years. I'm still hoping for an animated Grogu series. But I think that going forward, and we also know that we're also getting a Mandalorian. I think it's either Marvel or DC. I can't remember who's doing it. We're getting a comic book series for that. I think as time progresses, let's say, if we look at this realistically over the next 20 years, we're going to see even more incredible things coming out from, in this IP. And, that we're going to be exploring things that we've always wanted to see, like Obi during this time. Yeah. And hopefully I finally get my, Rule of Two movie, that I always wanted. But even if I didn't, there's still so much that we are enjoying, especially at this time in our lives, being able to be here at this very moment, talking about Star Wars on YouTube with everybody here, on the panel and in the chat, and anybody else who watches this, in perpetuity. It's so much fun to be able to share it with everybody and enjoy it. And, we have more figures than we've ever had before. There's just so many wonderful ways you can enjoy Star Wars now and, kind of make it your own. It's like, it's okay if you like, well, I kind of prefer this series over that one. That's fine. There's plenty more coming. And, just the offerings are something that I don't think any of us could have ever dreamed would actually happen, because this could have gone a very different way. This could have gone like they didn't make any movies at all, or even
Yeah.
any TV series. Like that could have happened. And it could be like, let's say in the case with when it comes to Star Wars video games, where we were lucky to get a few good games, but there were some time period spans or whatever, where I think it might have been AE. We just didn't get a lot of games like you would expect for a franchise that is this popular. So, now I think things are turning around, and this series, this Obi-Wan series, I think is going to really give us a more mature type of series, because, for The Mandalorian, and I that is one of my favorite shows. The feel of The Mandalorian was very different from what we had seen before, and then when we got the Book of Boba Fett, we were expecting, let's just be honest, everybody was expecting a hardcore bounty hunter, heavy hitting, a lot of, crushed skulls, that sort of thing. And we didn't get that. So that was a surprise. So we had two series that we were not kind of expecting. But I think we all are in a general consensus that we know that this is going to be about the dark side, and Obi-Wan, maybe facing his greatest challenge ever. But, maybe we'll even see some perspectives from the dark side that we haven't seen before. We talked about Vader earlier in the broadcast about that, but maybe we'll even see some Inquisitor situations and some of the other characters that we're hoping to see. Clearly, they showed us that commander for some reason. Maybe we'll get some insights about what it's like to be a commander for the Empire, which also must be very stressful. But it would be nice to get the other side, to get more of a focus on that other side. And I think they kind of led or veered towards that when we had that focus on Finn for a little while. But maybe now we'll really get a focus and see what's going on behind the scenes, and be quite frightened from it. So I'm hoping, I want to be a little bit shaken up and scared by what they uncover in this, because I don't think it's going to be sort of just ordinary run of the mill show. I think it's going to be something that's going to make us think and talk about even more and enjoy this. So, we've only scratched the surface when it comes to Obi-Wan anyway. There's so much more that we can learn about him. And, I hope that this series brings us to that. But also, I want to learn more about the dark side too. So hopefully we'll get that and so much more. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan.
Well, that's awesome. And we're going to stay right with you, Aradam, because what's going on your channel? This has been a tremendous show, guys. And we went over, and we're just having such a good time. But look, so good to have you in here again, Aradam. Positive Fandom, positive channel. We talked about it. Tell us what's going on, what people could expect there. And listen, I've got the link to Aradam's channel. I got the link to everybody's channel, not only in the video description like I always do, but if you go to SixthScaleCantina.com and you go to the resources and links page, you'll see one SixthScaleMan there. You'll see Willfoxification. You'll see Brother Cousins. You'll see Positive Fandom. I've been putting everyone's in there, even the highest subscribers to a lot of new ones. Now, if you're a new channel creator and you want me to put you on there, just reach out and I'll get it up there. I was a little bit behind. I put like 12 up this week, but it's a great little resource there at SixthScaleCantina.com. But definitely subscribe to Positive Fandom. And what's going on, Aram?
Well, I'm continuing to support. I created Positive Fandom because I wanted there to be a place for everybody to come and express their opinions, regardless of what it is. Even I have frustrations when I see certain things in our IPs, and it's a place to just kind of like express yourself, get everything out, talk about it, and also to share different ideas. I love different opinions and different ideas. So when someone has something new to say and interesting to say, we welcome that. Everybody has a place there. And also to kind of look on the positive side of things too. Sometimes things do disappoint you, but look at all the wonderful things we have, guys. We are so blessed to be alive at this time, as we just said before. So let's focus on those positive things. And on my channel, I also do reviews of films, interviews. I also bring on guests. And I do have a live Sunday brunch show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays. I call it my Sunday brunch, where we do the Positive Fandom parlay of what's going on in everywhere, in the fandom. So, come and you can talk about whatever you want, honestly. Even though we have topics, it's okay. You want to talk about something, we talk about it. It's just a fun moment where something's on your mind and you just want to get that out. come on to the show. I read out people's comments and interact with people. So it's a lot of fun for me as well, because it gives me a chance to talk to more people. But, I continue that on my channel, but I also stream with Midnight's Edge a lot, and with Lorena Creole on her station. Oftentimes during the week, you can find me also on the 1/6ScaleMan network, where where I do appear on Say What and Uncivilized Scoundrels. You can also find me on the Burn Network, where you can find me streaming on Midnight Musings, but also on my PGS All-Star show and PGS Review show, which will be airing this week. So, guys, please just go ahead and check out the channel. Subscribe if you like it. Go ahead and leave comments, and I'll respond to your comments. And thank you so much for the support and supporting all these great guys on the panel too, who are absolutely wonderful. It's just such a great experience to be collaborating with you all here.
Yeah,
that is great stuff, Artem. And listen, you got to subscribe to her. Subscribe to Positive Fandom. Got the link in the video description. Also at 6th Cantina. She mentioned she also streams a lot with 1/6ScaleMan. Lael, let's go to you. What is going on 1/6ScaleMan, my friend?
Well, again, man, thank you for having me here tonight. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, my brothers. So, yeah, tomorrow is basically going to be the first episode of Collector's Caf. Actually, it's Collector's Lounge, where we actually sit back and talk about diversity in collecting. We get a chance to talk to people all over this the collecting spectrum. So stay tuned for that. It's me, Cam's Collections, and also Sixth Scale Figure Focus. So we'll be there tomorrow at 12 p.m. So stay tuned for that. Also tomorrow is Take Your Position around 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. We'll actually just be posing up certain figures. That's going to be on Anthony from 6th Scale Posers channel, I think. So we'll be on his channel posing as well. So I'll actually have that up as well. And then tomorrow night on Will's channel, definitely we'll basically have a discussion with Collectors Mingle. So I can't wait for that. So yeah, on Monday, of course, is Comic Book Talk with Friends. Wednesday is Say What. And then Thursday, probably not this Thursday, but the following Thursday, we'll have Uncivilized Scoundrels. I'm not really sure. It just depends, because we decided to go back to the every other week format until Obi-Wan drops. So that just kind of gives us time to, just grab some content. But there's a lot to talk about still. There's certain things we could talk about that I would love to talk about. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, there's a lot going on. And then on Friday, of course, is Figure Flex Friday. I enjoy that show where we get a chance to actually interact with the fans and have them actually send their pictures and tag us in pictures, and we just pull them up and just all have a good time. So I love that show. So yeah, that's actually on Friday nights at 7 o'clock. Uncivilized is actually normally 9:15 on Thursday night. So yeah, if you haven't already subscribe to the 1/6ScaleMan YouTube channel, and everybody else's as well. Let's go.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff from 1/6ScaleMan. Great stuff, Lael. Great recap. Make sure you subscribe to him. And Willfoxification.
Yeah, man.
He mentioned you got Collectors Mingle tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know you got a big one also next week. What's going on your channel, my friend?
Yeah, man. So that's pretty much the gist of it. We just did a optical, and I did a show actually last night, Lights, Camera, Collect, which is now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for those who want to listen to it also. But it was a live stream. So we do those every Friday. I usually have a different host each time. Optical's been on the last few times, but we'll have different ones. And then we have Collectors Mingle every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. So that's this Sunday, tomorrow, about this time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then next Sunday, the following Sunday, so not this Sunday, but the following, we'll have Queen Studios on, who we will interview and ask about their new 1/6 figure line in art. So that'll be fun. And I just released a preview video recently of the Game Toys Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. So that's exciting. So check out that, guys. But other than that, that's pretty much it, Aries. Thanks so much for having me, as always, man. You're the man. And yeah, this amazing panel you've assembled, you guys were amazing. So thank you for having me and let me be a part of it.
Oh, always a pleasure to have you in here. You got awesome stuff going on. That is fantastic. Make sure you all subscribe to Will at Willfoxification. Brother cousins, What's going on? I know you got stuff. You got videos you're putting out. You got best of the best. What's going on, my friend?
Oh my God! Thank you so much for having me tonight. This panel, I could do this all day. And time just flew past. It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, but yeah. So I got a lot going on. So I think tonight I'm doing something with Anthony from Six Scale Mafia. I think he's having a private gathering with his Patreon members. So check that out. That's going to be great. Tomorrow I'm going to be on Collectors Mingle with Will and Lael. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. Then Say What on Wednesday. I think I'm doing that.
Yes. You already know.
Say What. Definitely going to be on Say What on 16ScaleMan Network. Absolutely. Then I got a collection tour on the channel, Brother Cousin's Toy Reviews. We're going to be showing my collection. It's been, I checked the last time I did one, finally. It was like 6 months ago since I did the last one. And so much has changed.
I didn't do one yet.
Oh, wow.
You haven't done one yet, Aries.
No, I keep getting all these messages. I know.
Oh, man.
I have an idea to do it like so different, but it's going to take me so much time to do it.
Come on, man.
We got to see yours.
I know.
Got to see yours. We got that going on. I got a video coming out called, it's kind of like part 2 of my top 10 Hot Toys figures I hate. This is the top 10 Hot Toys figures I love, which was very hard. So that one's coming out. And of course, Best of the Best on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Check that out. That's every Thursday. So that is going to be cool. We play with the time. Sometimes we do 7:30, sometimes we do 8, but I think we're going to go back to 8 o'clock on Thursdays. And one last thing, I'm doing a live unboxing of DX07. That should be sometime next week. I don't know the date, but it'll be sometime next week. So that's it for me.
Good stuff. Make sure you subscribe to Brother Cousins. Everyone here, they're in the video description below. They're at the links and resources page at SixthScaleCantina.com. And with Positive Fandom, Brother Cousins, 16ScaleMan, Willfoxification, they do come on regularly here at Sixth Scale Cantina, so you will see them on different shows that I have, and it's always great to have them on. And what is going on with me? Well, there's so much, but first tomorrow, I will be having Morning Coffee with Aries, kind of changing the name to Sunday Coffee with Aries, because it never quite happens right in the morning. And then I think that there's savings time, daylight savings time today. Anyway, tomorrow we're going to be doing this 2 p.m. Eastern. You will get Sunday Coffee with Aries. I will have a special guest with me going over a lot of the market stuff, as I always do, to set the table for Live and Raw on Monday. It'll be Anthony Sixth Scale Mafia joining me tomorrow to talk about some of this market stuff in the secondary market. You absolutely don't want to miss that. 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Live and Raw on Monday at 8 p.m. It's a short show, but I'm going to be just going right. I do all the market stuff tomorrow so that I can give you a whole new list number 3, as we lead up to the May 4th week and the rest of this year. Of course, I've got the Aries Tarrington show coming up this Wednesday as well, so you don't want to miss that. And that's it. Sometimes you find me on this show, that show. I've been on Lael's show. I've been on Will's show. I go on Brother Cousin's show. And you'll find me regularly all around. So that's all I got.
Yes.
But listen, I had a lot of fun tonight, guys and gals.
Me too.
Yeah, me too, man.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good time to be a Star Wars fan. So with that, I'll end it like I always do. I don't always buy coffee out. But when I do, I buy it from Sixth Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.